almost the next 6, if not 10 hours. It is exactly 10:27. We are starting with our program. As Mapalavora, we are blessed from here to Kruger National Park. Kruger Gate is 3 kilometers. From here to Mozambique is 70 kilometers. Palavora, you are blessed. Clap hands for yourself. Without much ado, allow me to call upon our Reverend, the chaplain Mboweni, to come and render the scripture for the day. Let's clap hands for our chaplain, Muruti Wamapodisa. Ow!
To the program directors of the day, I thank you. Let me extend my gratitude to Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Major General Skeppels, all generals present here, senior officers, the principal of the college, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let's find the scripture reading of the day from the book by the name of Psalms 127, verse 1. Psalms 127, verse 1. It reads thus: If the Lord does not build the house, the workers cannot do anything. There are men who watch for danger, but if the Lord does not guard the city, they will be useless. Come, let us pray. My dear Heavenly Father, unto thine hands do we commit the program of the day. In Jesus' precious mighty name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Muruti Wamapodisa, Oyaga Sergeant Mongwe. Yeah, it shows we need prayers all over Morluon, and thank you very much for being concise. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Mrs. A.P. van Niekerk to come to the stage, or rather to the podium, and do the welcoming remarks. Ma'am van Niekerk.
Good morning, Dumelang, Abusheni, Nda, Goeiemorgen to all the beautiful people sitting in front of me, as well as here on the stage. I greet you all. And I also want to have a special word of welcome to our college executive management that is here. In the name of our principal, Dr. Baloy, Mr. Mutabatsi, he is the deputy principal for registration, and then Major General Lukele, Major General Skeppers, Major General Mashava, and Major General Matonzi. Our campus, our college management, our student body, all the beautiful SAPS officials sitting here with their blues, you are very, very welcome. And I want to thank you, all of you, for making this day possible for us. It's an honor to welcome you to our beautiful campus for this historical moment, as it will be the first time in the history of Mopani College that collaboration of this nature is launched. Please feel free and make yourself at home. The safety of our students are of utmost importance to the college, not only on site, but also at their homes, accommodation, whether it is private or NSFAS accredited. Their safety is important. Many of our students are facing abusive behavior, gender-based violence, in the one place where they are supposed to be very safe, at home. And it pains us at Mopani, because most of us all have got children. And we can just think how painful it should be for their parents, knowing that their children are not safe. We strive for excellence, but if our students are not safe, then there can be no excellence. And the values of the college will mean absolutely nothing. I also urge the students that are present today, listen and learn. And when you go out here, please share this information with your friends. They need this information just as well as that you have it. Let's do our part to protect ourselves. We cannot only rely on the police services to protect us. We must also take responsibility for our own safety. Please don't go where you are not supposed to go. You know where are the dangerous places. Please stay away. If you have to move at night in town, move in groups. And groups is not only 2 people, it's not only 2 ladies. Please move in groups to make sure that you are safe. If you go out, tell a friend where are you going and when they can expect you to be back. Because if you don't come back, then at least they know I don't have to wait until 2 days from now on to report that you are missing. And remember, people, we don't know what scallums look like. They look like normal people, they look at good people, until they are not good people anymore. I also want to share with you just a few little bit of information. Bathrooms, there on my left-hand side, there is bathroom inside the hall. If you go out of the hall, on your right-hand side, there is also bathrooms that you can use. And if the need arises, we have got student bathrooms on the left and of the right side of the hall. You are also free to use them. Emergency exits, there are one on the left-hand side, there's one on the right-hand side. If an emergency arises, please, let's all stay calm, evacuate, fast, no running, no panicking. Outside, we have got emergency services. So should any crisis arise, we are ready to assist. And that will be all for me. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Come on, you can do better than that. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. She is the campus manager. Campus manager, so thanks very much. We are moving with our program. We are going straight to the purpose of the day, to be rendered by the head of family violence, child protection and sexual offenses, also known as FCS unit. Ladies and gentlemen, let me call Major General M.A. Lekele. A round of applause as she comes to the stage. Come on, you can do better than that. Batloli hira ele fecha kamo. Betang matsoba le bone man. Ke bona ba bagolo ba investigation ba.
Thank you, Program Director. Let me take this opportunity to greet each and every person seated in this hall. Let me acknowledge the management of the college led by the principal, Dr. Baloyi. Let me acknowledge the presence of senior officers here, Major General Matonzi, representing the South African Police Service, Major General Skeepers, representing the Provincial Commissioner here in Limpopo, the District Commissioner, Dr. Palani from Civilian Secretariat, senior officers in our presence, the TVET College community, the stakeholders that have joined us today, and if there is anyone that I did not mention, please just bear with me. I've already been introduced, and let me just put a reminder that the month is March. We are still celebrating International Women's Month, the strides that have been made by all women. At the same time, it is this month that we are celebrating and making sure that our human rights are always fulfilled. The mandate of the South African Police Service, derived from Section 205 of the Constitution, is to prevent, combat, and investigate crime. By the way, I'm a detective. Maintain public order, protect the inhabitants and their property, and uphold and enforce the law. That is the mandate of the South African Police Service. In execution of the mandate, the South African Police Service has formulated strategies that are aimed in making sure that the mandate is fulfilled. Various strategies that have been implemented includes fighting violent crimes, contact crimes, crimes against women and children. These are all strategies that are aimed in making sure all learning environments, that includes campus communities, that the environments are safe and conducive for learning, for students, for educators, and lecturers on and off campus environment. The beginning of this financial year, the South African Police Service, in partnership with the Department of Higher Education and Training, has been rolling out the program of Community Safety Forum at various campuses and TVET colleges in the country. I must mention that the main launch was done at the University of the Free State. There was a launch at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. There was a launch at TUT in Pretoria. There was a launch in Sefako Makgatho University. There was a launch in University of Limpopo. There was a launch at Vembe at TVET College. And today we are here in Mopani TVET College to launch the very same program. The initiative is aimed at a better response to incidents that are taking on and off campus. We will know as students, we will know as lecturers, there are a lot of crimes that affect the campus community. Over and above GBV, gender-based violence and femicide, we know there are thefts that are happening within the campus community and out, whereby out is on your way to or back from the college. When you are at your private residence, for you to be able to attend the school, even the ones that are staying on campus. We are having cyber crimes that are affecting the school or the campus communities. All those crimes, all those incidents, it is important for us as the South African Police Service to enhance and make sure that there is strong partnership, there is effective communication, there is quicker response as and when those incidents happen. We did not come here because this college is a bad college. It is not. All that we are doing is to make sure that there is peace and harmony within the campuses. Even when it comes to a situation whereby there are dissatisfactions amongst the students towards the management, all those actions must be done in accordance with the law so that all the challenges are being addressed adequately and in a proper manner. Criminals are taking advantage of the vulnerables, and I must also remind the campus community that one of the things that government has done, and I think General Matonzi will come and touch on that, the legislative frameworks that have been amended to accommodate the campus community. There is a Criminal Amendment Act that have been amended to accommodate all the students that have raised the age to 25 years. This is in itself to show that the government really cares. And we know as students where you are vulnerable. So you have been identified as that vulnerable group to make sure that you don't become victims of gender-based violence. And let me also remind you that as much as you came to the college to learn and make sure that you achieve your academics, it is also expected of you that you take responsibility of your learning. There are no quick wins. First thing first. This is a challenging moment in your lives where some of you is your first time to go out of the family and you want to explore. As you explore the world, make sure that your actions are responsible. Make sure that your actions are not putting you at risk. Make sure that you prioritize your education. Make sure that when there are hinderings or hindering facts, you report immediately so that you get assistance. You are not going to be part of the criminal groups within the campus. We might have those ones that are here with wrong intentions. But let's make sure that we avoid wrongdoings and we report as and when we see those things. And let's approach the management. If there are things that we are not satisfied with, I know there is student leadership. Let's use that platform to make sure that all the challenges and frustrations are aired. We want to see harmony in all campus communities, and the lecturers at the same time, they must also feel free to render the services that they are expected to render. And with this, I'm saying we are here at the South African Police Service. Again, we are reinforcing our commitment towards the school and campus community. We are here for you to make sure that your safety and the learning environment is not compromised. Thank you very much.
You can do better than that. Come on, let's clap hands. Thanks very much. We are moving with our program to unpack the campus safety framework. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call the head of social crime prevention all the way from the national office. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stand on our feet as we usher Major General T.N. Matonzi. Let's stand on our feet. Let's clap hands. Show some smile. Show that you are happy. Leadership is here. The leadership is here.
Thank you, Program Director. Thank you, Program Directors. Let me acknowledge our Principal, Dr. Baloyi, the Campus Manager, Mrs. Van Niekerk, and the entire management of the college, the Deputy Principals and the Acting Principals, and all the senior officials or the executive of the college. Let me also acknowledge our colleagues, starting with General Likele from Head Office, Pretoria, the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Major General Skeepers, the District Commissioner with us, Major General Mashaba, our senior officers, I saw Brigadier Potgieter and Brigadier van Staden, the other brigadiers who are present, the station commander, Dr. Palane from Civilian Secretariat. Actually, we are no longer Dr. Palane, but we still call you Dr. Palane. So forgive us, I don't know why we keep on calling you Dr. Palane. The representative of DHET, if he or she is present, and the students who are present today. Major General Matonzi has been, as the program director, has already introduced me. I'm just going to take you through what this program is all about. That's basically what I'm going to do this morning. Without wasting time, I'm going to start from here. I think it's always important that when we undertake any program, we start with the policies. Where do we draw our mandate from? As SAPS, we are established by the Constitution. So we didn't wake up and just became a police service. There's a Constitution that says there must be a police service. But it goes further and also explains how this service is established and how the national commissioners are appointed and how the provincial commissioners are appointed. But we also have the South African Police Act as well, which is also a regulatory framework that regulates how we operate. General Kelly already touched in terms of our mandate or the objectives of the police is to prevent, investigate, and combat crime, maintain public order. So in other words, if there is a disorder, we are mandated by this Constitution to intervene. to uphold and enforce the law. In other words, our responsibility is to make sure that we enforce the law as it is. But what we don't do as SAPS, we don't make laws ourselves. We only enforce them. In other words, we make sure that people comply with the laws, but we don't write the laws ourselves. I think that's very important to understand. And lastly is to protect and to secure the inhabitants of the Republic. Our job is to protect anyone who finds himself or herself in South Africa, irrespective whether the person is illegal or not. And that is very important because it causes confusion sometimes. Everyone who resides here, we have a responsibility in terms of this constitution to protect them, whether they are illegal or not. Now, as I said, my job this morning is to indicate what is this program all about. Firstly, it's important to indicate or to remind you that we have challenges in terms of crime. I'm sure you all watch the crime stats released. You can see the picture, and it's also available online, and everywhere you can see where the challenges are. Because of these challenges, it's important that we find different solutions to crime. In other words, there is no one solution that we can sit here and say, as long as you deploy officers, everything will stop. That's not going to happen. Also, what is important to note is that the institutions of higher learning, like the college where we are here, or universities, they are not exempted from crime. In other words, if crime is high outside, we're also going to be victims of crime. But more than that, the majority of crime is committed by young people. That's what we find. That's what we find in prison, that we find all kinds of crime. The majority of crimes are committed by young people. Hence, it's important that we engage you this morning and beyond today, actually. But these incidents of crime, they also happen in universities and colleges. They range from the smallest common assault to rape and even murders. And I'm hoping you haven't experienced a murder in this college. I'm not aware. But these incidents, they happen everywhere. They may happen inside the university, but they may also happen outside the university. If we look at the recent crime stats, as I said, these crime stats are in public. They've been released by our minister. Just to give a snapshot of some of the contact crimes. Contact crimes are those crimes that involve the person. These are the crimes that brings fear because they touch your privacy, they touch your space, they affect you as a person. So we call them contact crime. If we look at the last column on murders, we can see that murders went down. But it doesn't mean anything. At least to me, it doesn't mean anything. The reason for that is the numbers are still high. So these are murders. And what is murder? Murder is intentional killing. These are not road accidents or anything like that. These are intentional killing. Whether in the process of committing other crime, whether they are domestic related, whatever the reason, but these are intentional killing. So that means that 6,351 people were killed in 3 months. That's basically what it means. Then we look at the sexual offenses. I'm just looking at the last quarter, which is October to December of last year. These are the stats that have been released recently. So they are available online as well. Rape cases, 11,430. Again, the number is very high. So annually, if you multiply that by 4, it's 44,000 plus a year. That's a very, very high number by any standard. Then assault GPH, which is grievously bodily harm. This is not a slap on the face. This is serious assault where somebody is injured, bleeding, and so on, and an instrument is used. And then robbery is the last one. So if you look at all those four, at least those 4 crimes that I'm sharing them with you, there is a decline in the last quarter, but the numbers are still high. Hence, I'm saying There is nothing really positive about it. The numbers are still high, and that is why it's important that we have this engagement, so that as the entire community, we play our part as well in terms of reducing these numbers. Also still the figures for the last quarter, if we look at the darker the red, the higher the number, the higher the ratio. So if you look at this province where we are, I think we are the safest province because your red is lighter. That's how you should read it. If you look at the Western Cape and Eastern Cape, even KZN, that's where we have more problems, according to this. And then the inland, it's higher, but it's better than the coastal. So the whole coastal is a problem when it comes to murders. In fact, for most of the crimes. That's what the figures are saying. Then if we look at the rape, the same picture, almost the same picture, but here we see a slight change. Eastern Cape is still a problem, then we've got Free State and Northern Cape. Okay, I can see in your board the reds are almost the same, but in mine you can see. But Limpopo at the north and Mpumalanga, they are still lowest. So they are still the safest, or low crime rate is reported in those provinces. But I must indicate that when it comes to sexual offenses, one of your stations in this province, which is Thohoyandou, is still the highest. It's in the top 2 nationally, not in the province. Nationally, Thohoyandou and Nanda in KZN, they are the highest in terms of sexual offenses. So we still have a serious problem. So what tends to happen when we look at the stats, they just share the positions. Next quarter is Inanda, Thohoyandou is number 2. Then next time, Thohoyandou is number 1 and Inanda is number 2. So they remain there. So we have a serious problem in terms of that. But I think Deputy Minister will talk about tomorrow on some of the interventions specifically for Thohoyandou. If we zoom it down to the rape cases in educational premises, maybe I must indicate on this one. The fact that we say educational premises, it doesn't mean that the people who are victims are students. It just means that the educational premises were the crime scene. In other words, crime happened there. So the person who is either raped or killed might be a security guard at the school, might be a person who was passing. It could be anything, okay? So this is just to give us an indication. So if we look at the last row, which talks to tertiary education, in terms of rape, we have a total of seven cases. Again, if you look at this province, you don't have a serious problem. But again, the process that we are engaging on is a proactive program, meaning that we don't intervene because there are problems. We intervene to make sure that we maintain safety. And I want you to understand that difference. We don't intervene because we have a problem. We want to maintain that you remain safe throughout. And that's what basic policing is all about. So it's important to understand that. Now, we are here because we acknowledge that crime is caused by various socio-economic factors. There are various factors that contribute to crime. Universities and colleges, traditionally, they are private spaces. They have their own rules. They run business the way that they want. But their mandate is to teach, learn, and to do research. But obviously, criminals will always explore options and find ways to colleges as well. And that's the reason why we are here. Because you are not in an island. Whatever is happening outside, you're also going to be affected. But also more important is that although you are at the college, but eventually you're also going to go out to the community and operate there. So you need to be aware of what is happening. So it's also important that the deployment of officers is important, but it's not a permanent solution. Because very often we come to the scene because things have already happened, because crime has already been committed. Hence, we are focusing on proactive interventions to prevent crime from happening. I'm going to jump this one and go to this one. So these are some of the risks that are confronting institutions of higher learning. Criminal infiltration of campuses by criminals. One thing about criminals is that they are very effective and efficient when it comes to planning. They will always explore options. They always look for the environment where they can operate. So if we're not careful, they start operating in a university or in a college. They're already in some of the colleges already. I'm not sure about this one. Secondly, the risk as well is criminally organized student protest, where you find a situation where criminals, to get access to a college, they will mobilize or incite students to start something, but there isn't really a complaint or any issue. But they take one issue, make it big, there is disruption, then they can get computers from your lab, or they can ban a library. In the process, they're able to steal certain things. Or sometimes at the West, they do other things as well. So that is a risk that the colleges are facing. Thirdly, it's also a risk of criminals hiding at the university. I say there is good control in terms of access in these universities. Some universities, you'll find that in the residencies, they have people who are staying there, but they are not students. They don't even know where those people are coming from. And some of those people in residence may be criminals that police are looking for them. And they are hiding there because it's a safe space. They are hiding there, committing cash heists outside and come and hide in the residences. So that's a risk as well. Hence, we are saying that we need to intensify our security in universities. That's very, very important. University as well, because most students are young people, is an environment for gangsterism and other serious crime. So criminals find it easier to operate there and also to be able to push the issues of drugs and substances, because students are seen as easy targets as well as potential customers for drugs and other things. And lastly is the cyber crime or cyber attack, which is basically online crime, which is now growing a lot these days. General Kelly already touched in terms of this one, so I'm going to skip on this one. But the universities and colleges also have responsibilities. I think this comes from higher health as well. The college has a responsibility to create a safe learning environment. So when we say university, we are also referring to students as well, or colleges, because students are also part of the university community. They're also responsible for prevention of crime and violence through education and other means. In other words, universities must also constantly sensitize students about crime, safety tips, safety measures. What are the trends? What is emerging? What is crime and what is not crime? That is very, very important. In fact, we are even saying that the issues of crime prevention should be part of the orientation for the students when they come in. Because some students come from outside the province to come and study. They are not aware of what are the dynamics in this area. University is also responsible for remedial action when a report is made. In other words, when a student becomes a victim, we are encouraging universities and colleges not to suppress the cases, not to say we want to protect the integrity of the college and not deal with the matters. A rape is a rape, irrespective of who is a perpetrator. That's very, very important. Campus community support service as well. There should be support capacity for the college to support the students, those who become victims of crime, irrespective of the type of crime, and data collection and knowledge management. This talks to the fact that for you to manage something, you must have data to understand what is the scale and what is causing it and where it's coming from. This basically is important. It assists you to respond better. So what is this program is all about? Is to enhance safety and security within the institutions. So what we are saying is that we need to make sure that we intensify the safety of the universities and the students included. And to do that, we acknowledge that you need the student community to play their part, but they also need to be aware of what are the challenges that are outside. So that's what this program is all about. What are we trying to achieve? Ensure the protection of students within the campuses or different campuses, but also to build a strong relationship with the local police station, the security personnel, and the university. When I say university, I'm also including colleges. So don't get confused there. When I say university, stroke college, is also included. Brigadier is going to touch on the E2, which is the partnership with the private security. So we are saying that it's important that we identify all the relevant stakeholders locally who can play part in terms of the security of the students, but focusing more on the proactive side. I want to stress that, because we are not talking about a situation where things are out of hand, because when things are out of hand, you have to stop the fire. It's simple as that. But we are talking about proactively identifying the risk and the challenges and dealing with them before things get out of hand. Undertake joint proactive crime prevention initiatives. We are also encouraging that the university should also lead in terms of the security initiative. In fact, we go as far as to say that the student should lead in their own safety, because they are also leaders. Also to improve our police response to any incident of crime. So through the campus safety structure that we are establishing, if the structure is working the way it should be, in other words, our response will be better. But also it means that we'll be able to identify all the risks on time and be able to respond to them. And lastly, to prevent GPV. I'm left with two, and I'm just going to conclude. So these are some of the focus areas in terms of the framework. First one is to make sure that there are strong norms and standards. This talks to the policies. There are laws, there are policies, but we can also have our local agreements or protocols if we like. But what we are also stressing on the norms and standards is that there should be regulatory norms for the security officers that we use. We cannot just grab any person and say you are protecting the students. A person who do not have a clue what security is all about. And secondly, a security officer that works with students must be a person who understands the dynamics of students as well. A security officer in the bank is different from a security officer in the mine, and it's different from a security officer in a retail sector. Over and above their training, but they are also further trained to understand the environment. That's why when you are in the bank and you are struggling with ATM, a security officer will assist you, because over and above security is also trained to deal with the customers. So that is very important. Secondly, is to address the issue of the security facilities. We're talking physical facilities now, whether it's technology or perimeter fence or whatever, we also need to strengthen that. The student support, we also have to strengthen that. What we have as SAPS is what we call victim-friendly rooms. That's where we provide or support victims in terms of sensitive crime. So we are saying that the universities or colleges should also have appropriate support for students in case they become victims of crime, and also strengthen that relationship with the local police station in terms of how they operate. Number 4, policing and law enforcement. This focus on how we respond or how we build a relationship with the local police station. What we have tried as SAPS or tried to implement is to have a campus liaison officer. In other words, colleges should have a direct line of communication with the local police station in case the students become victims of crime. Governance structure, this talks to the structure that will oversee that this relationship works. And that's what this launch is all about. It's about launching that structure that will oversee that this partnership that we are starting, it works beyond just these 2 days. Because these 2 days is just an official launch, but the work really starts when we leave here. And then lastly, is around the issue of the student committee. One of the things that becomes a challenge is that the students, obviously, when they get to the university, they are adults, and therefore, you cannot control what they do. They move around, they disappear. If a student is not attending a class, it's not like a school that something is wrong with student A or student X. That's why we're talking about the community. I'm going to conclude because I've summarized these ones. The only thing I just want to highlight to those who may not be aware on this one is that we have what we call Community Police Forum, which is available at each and every station. So the structure that we launching tomorrow here should then act as a sub-forum for the local police station CPF. And that's how it's going to operate. The structure that we'll be launching will have different role players, depending who are the critical role players. I'm not sure whether you have private security companies here. You also will have CPF, business sector, and all other relevant role players, because we cannot prescribe, because we don't know who are the critical role players in terms of security in this particular area. But those that are critical, we are saying the students, the SAPS, the CPF, the campus protection services, as well as the management. What we are trying to avoid here is a situation where all the security measures are developed or initiated, but the students are not part of it, because then that process will not work, because the whole idea of this program is to make sure that students are part of their own safety. Then as I conclude, I just want to stress these few points, that we do need to focus more on involving all the relevant stakeholders, and we believe it's important that all the relevant stakeholders play their part. But we also need to say that the structure that we established must constantly analyze their challenges, because for those areas that are located in areas where crime is high, the university will also be affected. In other words, if we have more drugs here, the university will also experience the same. If you've got more sexual offenses, the university will also get the same, because you are not in the island. We also want to indicate or stress that this program is about making sure that the universities and colleges remain the safe spaces for education, learning, as well as research. And also it's important that we don't make crime prevention as a last resort, but it must also be a critical item in our agenda as a college management and different structures. It must not be something that is left to security officers who say, okay, if there's problem with security, just either call the police or call the security officers to take care of that. It must be a matter that is discussed, analyzed, the risks are assessed on a continual basis, and response plans are developed to respond to that. We also want to stress that through this program, what we want to achieve from a national perspective is that there are uniform standards for security in all the universities and colleges across the country. If we can achieve that, and then we believe that we'll have safe spaces for our students. Thank you very much, program directors.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Arba betelele matsoho. Re a leboha. Thank you very much. Major General T.N. Matonzi, Ikensa Sunen. Thank you very much for your presentation. I requested Sergeant Mongwe to give me a space just to get a feeling of calling these titles of SAPS, because I'm used to principal, deputy principal, campus manager. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's clap hands together as we welcome Brigadier van Staden. Yeah, Brigadier. Thank you very much.
Avusheni, halala, Limpopo province, halala. The safest province in South Africa, halala.
Thanks very much. My apology, generals. We have an announcement. There are mobile services from Home Affairs and SAPS outside. If some colleagues are outside or some learners are outside, they wish to certify, they wish to make any inquiries relating to Home Affairs, be it a passport, you are going for Easter holidays, please feel free. There are mobile trucks there, it's free. Stamp, it's free, go and certify, go inquire. any service that you wish in Home Affairs or SAPS. Clap hands for that. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Program Director. Let me just acknowledge our generals, General Matonsi, General Skeepers, our District Commissioner, General Mashava, and then also the college management. Can I also say all protocol observed? General, good morning once more, and good morning to all the people in the hall. My duty here today is to give you an overview of the eyes and the ears. You will see now on the screen it says eyes and ears, and if you hear the word E2, it's exactly what is the eyes and the ears. That is what it's standing for. It's an abbreviation. Basically, what the Eyes and Ears initiative means, it is a partnership between the Business Against Crime, the South African Police Service, and the private security industry. So, who is Business Against Crime South Africa? This organization was established by businesses in 1996 in response to the request from the then President Nelson Mandela. And we know that everything that comes from our President Nelson Mandela, it's good, ne? So he initiated and he invited businesses to say, join hands with government. Government cannot fight crime alone. There's a lot of businesses out there that can also join hands with SAPS to address crime. So BAXA was then established with that purpose, to join hands with the government. Now, they say here also, the historic roles of BAXA was also then to facilitate the leadership in business. So they joined hands with businesses and say that there's this initiative, are you with us or against us? Then most of the businesses said, no, let's join hands with SAPS. Let's join hands with private security to fight crime. We cannot keep on looking the other way while crime is happening right in front of us. So the background started there to say that the Eyes and Ears was this partnership between SAPS, Business Against Crime, private security, and they also recently included non-private security industries. Those are your farm watch systems, people that are also taking security as one of their responsibilities, to say that we are having this initiative and we are looking at crime prevention, but where do we fall in? Now that is exactly where they fall in. Through a memorandum of understanding, it's not just to say I'm joining hands with SAPS, I'm going to fight crime. There are certain roles and responsibilities that needs to be stipulated, and then that is governing what can everybody do and what should not be done. Otherwise, you will have these vigilante groups that join hands with the police, and they like to do the scope, and I don't want to say the other word because it's actually a swear word. You kick and you assault people while you are arresting them, and that is not what we do. And that is also not what we stand for. We are also using the footprint of private security to assist us. You will know even in Palaborwa town here, you will have a small group of police vehicles that might patrol. If I ask the station commander, maybe you will be surprised that there's sometimes at night shift only 1 or 2 vehicles patrolling, Colonel. So in order to use the footprint of private security and using the other eyes and ears on the ground, we say let us join hands. There are private security companies in this town. That gives us then the leverage of the extra vehicles, the extra people, the extra eyes and ears that are there with this goal to prevent crime. So the private security through BAXA have at least one representative in my office. That is the Provincial Operational Command Center. So you are learning today, ne? POCC. If you hear this word POCC, it's the Provincial Operational Command Center. We also have the same office at district level, then that it becomes now the DOCC. So the information that we are getting outside, or the public are getting outside, either through cameras, CCTV systems, your LPR license plate recognition cameras is then channeled to this office, where we then activate either police or private security to go and assist. So in that office, the private security will then consult with the relief commander to say that there's this vehicle following cash in transit vehicle, for instance, giving us a clear description of the vehicle, and then we activate the police members on the ground. Obviously, a lot of times, you will already have a private security company in that mall that we are now sending police vehicles to. Police vehicles might be patrolling in a village far from that mall, for instance, or far from the highway. Then we activate the private security to say, come, please assist us there. All private security participants communicate then with the PSI staff, that's your private security, through there's a radio channel that we've established, and there's also your normal cell phone communication with telegrams and WhatsApp groups that we can then spread the message as far as possible and as soon as possible. The purpose of this eyes and ears is to use the private security industry and the approved non-private security industry role players, their geographical deployment footprint. As I've mentioned, there are more than, I think South Africa has more private security companies or members than SAPS as a whole. So we are using that footprint to assist us. We are also using their technology and all their sources that they have of information. So I've mentioned before the LPR cameras that are on the highways and byways. You will see sometimes even the farming communities now, they are establishing ANPR cameras. We have the same system on some of our cell phones where you can then read number plates. So we are using that technology to create situational awareness, to say that we are talking to each other and then we are now responding. That is the operational response that is mentioned there. To hotspot areas, violent crimes, trio crimes, we've mentioned, General Matonsi presented your robberies, aggravating, house robberies, vehicle robberies, those kind of things are part of the trio crimes, with a specific emphasis on crimes which are heavily dependent on situational information. So it's not your normal assault or what, it's the serious crimes that we need to give attention to. But it also includes those other less serious crimes. When you are in a city like Polokwane, we are using the CCTV system of the municipality. Now that's why we say it's an integrated approach. Those cameras are not police cameras. It is an existing infrastructure that is already there that we as police can then also utilize to prevent crime. So basically it's to improve situational awareness of SAPS, enhance operational response by using other role players, use all sources of information, the cameras, your cell phones, and then also to assist each other. Everybody is always saying we are working in silos. This project exactly say that we cannot work in silos. We cannot say the police is responsible for crime prevention. What about people that see crime that is happening on a daily basis and just remain quiet? We cannot let that happen. So the objectives here, situational awareness, the integrated formal mechanism that we talked about, operational response, allow the private security industry to assist each other and SAPS. The participation is voluntary and at no cost. We don't request monthly fees or enrollment fees or something like that. If you as a company or if your security is registered, you can join hands with SAPS. Then the responsibilities and liabilities of each and every participant is based on our current laws. Nobody can say that now that I've joined hands with SAPS, I can now investigate a case. You as a private security company cannot investigate crime. So we are drawing a specific line your laws and your policies are still applicable, and obviously the laws of the Republic of South Africa. All these groups, they incur no liability for any conduct or omissions on behalf of participants or individuals. So you cannot now say, no, I'm covered because I joined the police. If you assault somebody, you will still stand trial for that assault. You can still be arrested. If you use excessive force, it's not now open ground to say, no, we are covered by the police that are also operating with us. Now, the collaboration is explained in this diagram. You will see on the top left, ANPR camera. It's very small maybe, but that is where we sometimes get the information from. The ANPR system is linked to different clouds that receives information on stolen vehicles, vehicles used in crime, specific vehicles or specific descriptions that were sent to the cloud. That becomes then a vehicle that is we are interested in as SAPS or private security. There will be a hit on one of the cameras showing that there's an alarm on that registration number. It might be a white Fortuner registration number, Hotel Kilo Bravo, what. Then the ops room becomes aware of that hit. This vehicle is on the R81 towards Giani, approaching Humo village. Now we know that, okay, the next police station is maybe Bellevue or Giani police station. Let us inform them. But they know there's a private security company that is in the same village before Giani. Now it's just basically to say that we communicate through our hand radio systems that we have. Then we activate the security companies and the SAPS to assist us. All this information is then from the POC to the DOCC that is then coordinating. We activate the 10111 police, we activate the resources of private security, and then the information is related. You will see on the WhatsApp groups, we have so many WhatsApp groups and Telegraph groups that instantly the information reaches everybody. And then everybody knows, although you are expecting that vehicle to go to Giani on the R81, there might be a turn off to Zanin or to Louis Trichardt that then the vehicle is taking. So if anybody becomes aware of that vehicle now is not on the way to Giani anymore, we share that information and then we know to relay the vehicles or to change direction. So then basically after that, we can say, yes, now that vehicle is cornered, the private security company stopped the vehicle on the way to Beitbridge just before it exited South Africa. So what has the E2 advanced into? The E2 gave us a structure, a well-established structure to say that we are now collaborating between businesses and SAPS. It is also not only a well-established channel for sharing of information with SAPS and businesses, but also an effective example of a best practice for managing partnerships with government. The E2 has also further become a well-established channel for most of BAXA's initiatives in collaboration with the SAPS. It's then giving us this opportunity to say that even if there are unrest situations like we've seen in KZN, now we can say that don't only rely on SAPS to activate. There are private security companies that are already there that can be mobilized and activated. This is the example that I'm using, the looting in July 2021. We cannot afford this again. We know that a lot of businesses lost the whole shop, everything that they've lost during those riots. There was a significant intelligence failure because we didn't share information. Some of the cameras already picked up that people are gathering. That information was not shared with police or with anybody. By the time that they are already in the shops starting to loot, it became too late to respond. This diagram just explained to us that there's a resource or a source of information that is out there that we can utilize. Cameras, Twitter, Facebook, all the medias that you can think of, the social media, it's also a good platform to share information. And then the generating concept of all that information, it comes to one central point where it is then analyzed and shared with the relevant people that can respond to that. For the past 12 months, you can already see that more than 1,240 suspects were arrested out of this initiative. 1,600 vehicles were impounded. Those are your stolen and robbed vehicles that were then recovered. More than 100 illegal firearms were seized. It's just some of the examples that we can use. The rollout of this E2 initiative started in a rural safety summit in Free State during June 2022, where there was a team of SAPS and BAXA that met and said, okay, let's roll this out also to the rural environment. That's where they joined hands and they said, okay, let us also go to Limpopo as one of the rural provinces. We know that there's a lot of villages here and we know there's a lot of structures in place that can join hands with the SAPS to fight crime. So that is when we as SAPS also then joined hands and say, let us take it to the rural environment, let us take it to the small towns where you have CPFs, you have private security companies that can join the fight against crime. These are just the stakeholders that we've joined hands with, and you can see SAPS, it's there on top. In the government departments, I've highlighted the Department of Education, and that includes the higher education. We want to join hands with you. We want to say, come, let us use your security footprint that you have also to share information with us. We have organized agriculture and farmers associations. We even have the taxi associations that are joining us. Farm workers unions, traditional leaders, non-government organizations, private security companies. And then what is next for the E2? We want to capacitate the districts and also the stations to say, let's join hands. If you are not using your private security, you cannot fight crime. We need to implement it at the rural level. We need to join hands, civilian organizations, organized agriculture, CPFs, let them join hands with you and let them fight crime with us. We need to also to grow in information sources. We've seen the cameras that are very active and very successful. We need to roll out this footprint and we need to identify routes and roads that are used as escape routes to get these cameras installed. Also to focus on suspects. We know that in a certain area there are suspects that are moving around. Share that information, share the description of the vehicles that the suspects are using so that the people out there can know where to get this information and where to give this information to. I also want to highlight improve the information accuracy. They're always at the POCC office, there is somebody that will then confirm, is this information true? Can we then say, yes, indeed, this vehicle was robbed or stolen before we just activate everybody? Sometimes criminals use information to derail police deployments. They will create a complaint that is not actually true to see where the police are responding to, then they will hit another place. So we need to confirm that information. Our action plan is just to say, let us capacitate each other, let us grow these information sources, improve our responses to incidents. That is now where we say that the private security company and SAPS, let us work on improving these responses. Focus on suspects, as I mentioned before, integrate businesses. A lot of businesses don't know about the concept, so if they don't know, they will not join hands. Also to have a predictive analysis, to say that we are now approaching Easter, we are approaching elections. What can we predict? What might be the problems during this time? Are we expecting a lot of people moving to the Kruger National Park? Is there an increase in poaching incidents? Is there an increase in robberies at malls? So then you can predict, this is what we are expecting. Let us join hands and let us give this information to the private security, to the community. Our requirements to join the E2 project is to say that, first of all, that security company should be a registered security company. They must be tax compliant, they must be a registered company. And then all the security companies are registered at CIRA, the private security industry. That is then the regulating system. So if your security company is fly-by-night, you just created it now without those regulations, you are not yet welcome. Go and do the necessary paperwork and then you join us as police. That CIRA letter will then give us an indication, are you in good standing? Or are you a security company that is actually doing crime yourself? The signed E2 standing operational procedure, that is the SOP, should then be also downloaded, and then that is giving you the do's and don'ts. Where do you stand? What are your rights as a private security company? And then the full personal particulars of the company's owner, directors, etc., etc. So there are terms and conditions that needs to be followed. But we are saying, let's join hands, let us fight crime, and then we can also give attention to the expected outcomes that are listed here. Reduce the level of crime, collaborate amongst role players, that is now to say, let's join hands, let's work together, improve service delivery, reduce service delivery protest actions, like the July 2021 that we've seen. In your town, you have the mines. Sometimes it's also, there's an early warning to say that there's a labor issue that is now coming out of this mine. What are we doing? Are we waiting for them to first burn tires and close roads? No. If you have that information beforehand, you can act before they act. A safe and secure community and synergy between all the role players. And then I close, General, to say that the only thing required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. If you keep on saying, I didn't see that, I didn't hear that, let me rather keep quiet, let me stay at home, let me do nothing, crime will escalate, crime will go up, and everybody will blame you to say, why didn't you report that crime? Why didn't you say that your neighbor is hitting his wife? Why didn't you say that that vehicle that everybody was looking for and chasing just park next door and close the garage door? So let us join hands, let us talk. Thank you very much, General.
Let's give him another round of applause as he... Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brigadier van Staden. Ladies and gentlemen, our program is moving quite nicely. Mopani students, are you all right? This is your information. Our government is very serious about your safety and my safety. Hence this kind of initiative. So, yeah, they are here to assist us. Ladies and gentlemen, we move along. Brigadier van Staden, I've learned some terminologies here. POCC, DOC, E2, so you can give me a rank because of these terminologies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our Mopani TVET College Occupational Health and Safety Rep, our officer, so to say, Mem Mabunda, who will be joining us to talk about the campus safety. Safety at our campus. Arriba Belén Maboko. Eba Bela Maboko Bakarbata stage in. Ikensa But this is Limpopo Combo. Tabela FM Mungana Lonen.
Thank you, Program Director. Greetings to our brigadiers and our college management and the students, or let me say, all protocol observed. I'm here to give a brief presentation on what we do to make sure that our students are safe while they are here in the campus. Mopani is not an institution that operates in isolation. We are guided by the Constitution, we have the policies. So when it comes to safety, we are guided by the Occupational Health and Safety Act, which says that the employer must take care of all its employees and all the people who come to the institution. So as Mopani, we are following that policy. We are making sure that our students are safe. When we register new students, we have induction where we induct them. We tell them how to conduct themselves while they are here in the campus. And Brigadier, I'm happy to announce that when we do the inductions, we invite the SAPS, they come and do their presentation. So our students are aware that SAPS is around and it's supporting us. And then another thing that we do is to inform the students that when they are here in the campus, they must report any accidents or incident that take place when they are in the campus. The aim of reporting is not to say we will blame you, but the aim of reporting is to say that we will correct whatever it was not in good place. And then as a college, we have the OHS committee members, which also includes the students or part of the SRC members as the safety reps. They assist us in doing the inspection. They sit in the OHS committee meetings where we discuss the way forward on things that are not in place when it comes to our institution. So to ensure that our college is safe for our students, we make sure that when they enter the campus, they use student cards. Previously, we were using access cards, but we are still in the process of bringing it back. But for now, everyone who enters our campus, if it's a student, that person will be having a student card where the securities will check it and allow access. If it's a visitor, they will give that visitor an access card to use when it comes into the campus. Then when we do induction, there are a lot of things that we inform our students about. For example, some of the students are on chronic medication. So during the induction, we tell them to inform their lecturers about any chronic sicknesses that they have and any chronic medication that they are using. The aim is not to expose them, but the aim is to support them. Also, we have our nurses in the campus who assist us when students are not feeling well. Then we also advise our students to report any theft. When they witness any theft, we advise them to report. Whether it's theft of property or theft of equipment, we advise them to report so that we can keep our property safe. As a college, we have people who are trained as first aiders, and we have first aid kit available at different places where if anything happened to a student or to a lecturer, the first aid aider in that building will be able to assist the person while we call the nurses, and it goes up to a point where they reach the hospital. We also have the firefighting equipment that are used in case of fire. They are also available. And also at Mopani, we take care of people who are living with disabilities. We have access ramps for them. We have special bathrooms for them. We have lifts for them. So as a college, we are an institution which follows safety. Safety at Mopani is not a one person's responsibility, but it is a responsibility for everyone. Thank you, Program Director.
Come on, you can do better than that. Thanks very much. Varna na takwala basubeke kahle ibele ni mabokane takwala. Minge bi amla ba ko aiti. Thanks very much. We're moving with our program to present on legislative framework on gender-based violence and femicide. Let me call from the Visible Policing and Operations, Colonel M.H. Mukofi. Let's clap hands. Oh, already here, my colonel. Sharp and short.
Thank you very much, program directors, and a very good afternoon to all my generals, General Mashaba, General Skippers, General Matonzi, General Likele, Dr. Baloi, Dr. Mutuwazi, and Mefan Nikek. You are all greeted, all protocol observed. Thank you very much. General, I think I should also indicate that Mopani TVET, actually, when we looked at the concept document and when we engaged them, indeed, there is no much crime happening in this campus. I should state that they were mentioning of some steps that are taking place, you know. So I do agree that we didn't come here because it is a hot spot. You are not a hot spot, Dr. Baloi. This is a proactive measure, as General has already indicated, that we do not need to come here to come and extinguish fire, but we are here to cement and to, if the relationship is there. I heard the previous speaker here mentioning that they are working well with the police. So we are here to strengthen and reinforce that working relationship, you know. And then we really have to thank Mopani TVET for opening the doors for SAPS and to collaborate with the SAPS. Gender-based violence in general has just been declared as a disaster. It has just been declared as a disaster, meaning we all have to put our hands together, collaboratively so, in working together in addressing the scourge. It was a disaster. I mean, it was mentioned as a pandemic. It was mentioned as a priority. It has just been declared as a disaster, meaning we need to mobilize more resources to address this issue. Although the states have indicated that, you know, in this area, there is no much of, you know, gender-based violence and sexual offenses taking place. However, we know that you are not an island. What happens in the society is likely to creep into the institution, as it was mentioned here earlier on. I will touch on the legislation that SAPS implement in dealing with the gender-based violence and femicide in the country. General, one of the first legislation is the Domestic Violence Act, 116 of 1998, which empowers the police to protect the victims in assisting them to obtain protection orders and to deal with the respondent, which may include search, seizure, and arrest. General, you mentioned earlier that when students are here, they left their families. I don't know, Dr. Baloi, if there are any domestic relationships happening in the campus. However, we know that these people, they are in a particular age of, you know, adults or, youth. However, this is applicable in a instance where there is a domestic relationship. People who are residing as lovers or who are in a loving relationship. Are we in a loving relationship, the students? Can I hear that? No, not at all. However, if it does happen, you must know that police are there to assist you. The next one is the Criminal Law, Sexual Offenses and Related Matters Amendment Act 32 of 2007, which creates a number of sexual offenses, General. General Likele mentioned the issue of having to talk about the protection of the vulnerable people, whereby it also, the government has realized that we need to protect the vulnerable people and upped the age of the people that are vulnerable to the age of 25 to include the students that are in the institutions of learning like Mopani TVET. Protection from Harassment Act, that is 17 of 2011,
provides for the protection of victims of harassment by affording them the right to apply for protection order as an effective remedy against harassment. So if you are being harassed, although you are not in a domestic relationship, so you can also apply for a protection order against the person that's harassing you using the Protection from Harassment Act 17 of 2011. Police will assist you. Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act number 7 of 2013, which gives effect to international obligation to prevent and combat trafficking in persons. Yeah, our youth, Dr. Baloy, they become vulnerable and they are also prone to these issues of trafficking in persons. Whereby, you know, South Africa itself, it took a long time to enact this legislation. There was no specific legislation that was addressing the issues of trafficking or human trafficking in a common language. So, but in 2013, it was enacted. Therefore, it provides for a coordinated, implemented, and application and a coordinated approach in dealing with these issues of trafficking in persons. General Matonsi mentioned the issue of criminals taking, you know, harboring themselves within the institution. We need to be careful about that. We need to be careful about that as well. So, Criminal Law Forensic Procedures Amendment 37 of 2013, which talks about the retention, destruction, and oversight of specific bodily samples gathered for purposes of forensic DNA analysis, and the establishment of a national forensic DNA database in South Africa. Here we're talking about, you know, you will see the police now and then checking the issues of buccal samples, storing for a database, so that whenever there's a crime during the investigation, there can be a hit, or they can be able to link the people with their samples, the DNA samples that were gathered during the investigation. One of the critical items of the Sexual Offences Act General is the establishment of the National Register for Sex Offenders, which was expanded to include any sexual offense or offenses in terms of prevention and combating of trafficking in persons, where it was committed for sexual offenses and offenses that had to do with child pornography. I should also emphasize here that, you know, whenever you do commit crime, be it a petty theft or whatever, you know, a petty crime that you may think about, if you happen to be involved and convicted of a sexual offense, your information is going to be stored in this register for sex offenders. Therefore, you know, we need to protect you. We need to protect the youth. You are the future, or you are the current, of course, but going to the future. So once you are in this, your details are found in this register, you know, your career, your future is actually limited or actually curtailed. I need to emphasize on that. That please do take care of yourself. Don't commit those sexual offenses. Be careful of involving yourself in any crime and criminal related activities, because surely you are here to study. Where will you go and find another, an employment after, or where are you going to work, or to create even a job if you are classified or your information is found in the register for sex offenders? You will never work anywhere with the youth or even the children in the future. I'm not going to dwell much on these examples of GBV, DV, and sexual offenses. However, this is all what is encapsulated or incorporated in the gender-based violence, the physical violence, the sexual, the economic, the abuse, the rape, you know, and so on and so on. Sexual intimidation, there are quite a list of them, but we need to also be careful not to involve ourselves or allow ourselves to be groomed as the youth to be, you know, trafficked or even enticed to commit crimes. Obligation to report sexual offenses. This is where the Sexual Offences Act also assists us, that we cannot look away whenever a sexual offense is committed. I heard all the speakers here before me mentioning that we want to encourage the reporting of offenses. But if you have knowledge and you reasonably believe or you got suspicion that a crime is being committed against a person who is vulnerable, you've got a duty, you've got an obligation, you've got a mandate to report. Failure which it is a criminal offense. If we know that you knew, as Brigadier Van Staden was also mentioning, that you know that the crime is committed against the vulnerable person, and then you just look away, you can be prosecuted. You can be prosecuted, you can be found guilty, and you may end up having a criminal record. Now the big question is, who are these people that are vulnerable that we are supposed to report offenses against them? We're talking here of children or persons who are living with mental disability. Those people are vulnerable. We know they cannot do much for themselves. The female who is under the age of 25, General Kelly, I think that's the point where you were talking about, who received a tuition at a higher education college. That the motive was, this is where we are. These females that are here, I don't know why the law decided to really be gender specific, but however, that is our legislation. The ladies that are sitting here, if you are under 25, you are classified as a vulnerable person, Mefanikek. We need to have more protection over them. We need to report any act of sexual offense that is actually committed against them. You receive a vocational training at any training institution other than institution referred to in subparagraph 1 and all. You live in a building or structure or facility used primarily as a residence for any of the persons referred to in subparagraph 1 and 2. Persons who is being cared for or sheltered in a facility that provides services for victims of crime. A person with physical, intellectual, or sensory disability, or a person who is 60 years or older, or a person who is also cared in a facility providing 24-hour care to such persons. So our government, don't you want to clap hands for it? Students, our government have taken note that you need to be protected because you left homes, you came here, some of you are residing here. Therefore, you need more protection than any other person that is on the street. I think that is a good from the government. All what is remaining is to implement and implement and implement. The mandate of SAPS and the CCF campus community safety structure within the Institute of Higher Learning. I'm not going to dwell on this one very much. However, we're talking about more regulated partnership, which is necessary for SAPS and the campus community. Cooperation between SAPS and Institutes of Higher Learning is essential as to give effect to the objective of the GBV legislations in protecting the vulnerable communities. Higher education sector is not immune or free from gender-based violence. General Matonzi shows the stats, although it's minimal, we need actually to go to zero. As much as we say female under the age of 25 are vulnerable, we should also be able to identify the attackers, Dr. Baloy. If the attackers are within the institution, we shall not harbor them. We need to identify them and deal with them accordingly and hold them accountable. We need to ensure that students don't enroll at these institutions and return home in a coffin. There was no matter that was reported from this campus. We thank God for that. We thank also the behavior of the students and the community around here. Hence, the need for campus community safety forum within the institutions of higher learning is critical. I'm not going to touch on that. But SAPS also must indicate in dealing with gender-based violence, we also establish what is called gender-based desks at police stations. General Mashaba, I think Mopani TVET has got all gender-based violence desks in the area. General Escapers, we are aware of that. We got certificates. We also got the victim-friendly rooms in the police station. Those are one of the facilities that we make sure that whenever you come and report at the police stations, we treat you with dignity, we treat you with fairness, and then we treat you in private, so to say, so that we don't report in public. So we work together with other stakeholders like our NPA in this regard, resourcing of SAPS to deal with gender-based violence incidents. I'm talking about the sexual evidence collection kits, expansions of DNA analysis, capacitation of FCS unit, whereby General Kelly is heading this unit. You heard about it, right? Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy 2022, which also talks to the whole of government and whole of society approach. We realize, Dr. Boloi, that really we can't win this thing alone. And we must thank our government for also coming to that realization. We need everyone, we need all hands on deck. We need all hands on deck in dealing with this scourge of GBV and crime in general. It talks also to the increased role of tertiary institution, which is where we are. We need to develop and implement integrated crime and violence prevention strategy to address student and staff safety, which are aligned with the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy of 2022, also aligned with the National Strategic Plan of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. So gone are those days, Dr. Boloi, that DHET or whoever will say the police, no silo operation. So he says we are going to be working together. I'm glad, I'm going to announce that that cooperation is already existing at national level. There's a MOU that is also nearing finalization that is actually binding the two departments to say we are together in this. We cannot turn away and look at the crime happening in our institutions of higher learning. Therefore, what are some of the key actions that are required from the tertiary institutions like Mopani TVET? We need to train all first responders, healthcare providers at these campuses on how to support survivors of gender-based violence. I'm so glad that our officer from health and safety, she was here, she's mentioning the issue of clinic in the campus as well. That is very encouraging. That is good to hear. We need to also make sure that there is a place, like a victim-friendly room in this campus, whereby if the students need to report the GBV-related matters, they are not really discouraged. They need to be treated in that place, whereby they can get proper counseling as well as make their statements in private, actually. And as General Matonzi indicated, there will be police station liaison officer who will be linked to the campus liaison officer from the campus to facilitate our police response. We need to facilitate that police response so that the statements are taken properly, and then police are involved immediately. Ensure access to the equipped treatment centers at all campuses. Equipment treatment centers, I think that's what she was referring to. If it needs to be improved, it can be improved, but we will talk about that as we go on and on and on. Ensure accessible 24-hour security and support services for victims of crime and violence. As much as we encourage them to report, if the reporting lines are not friendly and services are not accessible, it will discourage them. So we need to say, as much as we encourage them to report, let us also open our hands and serve them properly. In conclusion, General, campus community is an extension of the outside broader community, as mentioned earlier on here. What happens here is likely to spill in the institutions of learning. What happens in the community? SAPS should work together with all stakeholders in addressing the scourge of GBV in and outside the campuses so as to protect the future of this country. Victims are not abusing themselves. There's a need to speak up against GBVF, identify the abusers no matter who they are, and hold them accountable. Therefore, the collaboration between SAPS and institutions of higher learning through the Campus Community Safety Forum is very critical. As we are not islands, we all rely on each other to prosper. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Colonel M.H. Mukufi. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now welcome Miss. According to our program, we supposed to have a short break, but then now they are busy confirming there. Sergeant Mongo is busy confirming. While he's busy confirming, Miss M. Pukanuka will be giving an overview on GBV and mental health, higher health. Miss Pukanuka, are you here? Yes. Just a second, ma'am. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you very much. Then now, right. Let's usher Miss Pukanuka. Let's welcome her on the stage. The rest will unpack. Thank you very much. Let's give her a big round of applause. Rimutela matso ba ofita mo. Yes. Ba ofita ema mo. Yes, thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. My name is Manake Refilo Pukanuka. I am a registered counselor from Higher Health. And in simple terms, I'm a mental health practitioner. We work hand in hand with DHET institutions, meaning that all TVET colleges and CT colleges and also universities, we work well together to maintain health and wellness. So the Higher Health mandate is that we want to see a student graduate alive, healthy, and on record time. So hence we are promoting health and wellness for all students. Today my presentation is going to be short and hopefully impactful. I'm going to be talking about the overview of GBVF and also mental health. So GBVF, it is something that we are facing as a country. Just because it's not happening next to you, you think it's not happening, but it is happening. And it is a serious violation against human rights. So if we are all aware of our human rights, it simply means whatever right that you have as a human, it's violated by someone else because they want to get their way. So someone wanting to get their way with you, it is violating your human rights. So when people flee their homes, they often are at a greater risk of physical, sexual, and psychological violence, such as rape, sexual abuse, trafficking, and forced prostitution. So meaning that even coming to school, going to the shops, going to a safe space, you tend to be at the risk of being violated, whether it is by someone you know or a stranger that you come across. We have people that have been violated by their partners, by their teachers, by also even their family members. So this is just a little bit of stats that I have gathered. It says that between 2025 and 2026, Limpopo has recorded 1,873 sexual offenses cases in just 6 months, showing a continued rise in GBVF related crimes. And then in the same period, there were 3,691 domestic violence incidences. Remember, the previous speaker spoke about domestic, meaning it's an intimate relationship. So this happened in a home with someone that you trusted with your life, including 39 murder cases indicating the severity of GBVF. So earlier provincial data shows that rape cases from 406 to 458 cases in 1 year. Limpopo recorded the highest GBV call rate in South Africa between 2020 and 2023. And in 2022, the SAMRC reported that 10% of all reported rape cases occur at institutions of higher learning, meaning an institution that is like this, whether here in Phalaborwa or in Venda or in Polokwane, but they happen in higher institutions. And then 62% of students felt unsafe on campus, meaning that it's more than half the students that don't feel safe, wherein there are securities, there are lecturers, there are peer educators, there's so many people that you can go to for help, but they still didn't feel safe. And 60% of service staff and 71% of academics felt unsafe. So there are different forms and categories of gender-based violence. The violence, it is the use of force to control another person or other people. This can include physical, emotional, social, economic abuse, coercion, or pressure. So it's not only based on physical and emotional, there's also social and also economical. So violence and the threat of violence are ultimately different forms of power used to get from people what the perpetrator of violence wants. So they don't care what you want, they care about what they want, and they want it from you, whether to make you feel pain or whether to control you. So we have 5 interrelated types of violence. It can be physical, psychological, sexual, socioeconomic, or harmful traditional practices. For physical, it is the ones that we know, pushing, hitting, grabbing, and beating. Even when you do it in the simplest form to say you are joking, you don't know what the other person feels. So it's important to always do to other people what you would also be comfortable if it was to be done to you. Psychological is swearing. This, we see it often when they are catcalling you and then you ignore them and then they swear at you. That is also a form of GBV because they are saying, agree to what I'm saying to you. They are impinging on your human rights. Insulting, threatening violence, humiliating a person, locking someone out of the door. And then sexual, we have rape, compelled sexual assault, unwanted touching, forcing person to watch sexual acts. So in simple terms, if you are that person who always sends your private parts to someone saying, I want them to feel something for me, let me just send, maybe it will ignite them. That is a form of GBV. You are forcing that person to watch a naked part of you, which is not right. And then socioeconomic, withholding family finances, stopping someone from getting a job or keeping a job, and also asking for a girlfriend allowance or a boyfriend allowance. Yes. Yes, it is a form of socioeconomic because you are simply saying that money that you are earning, I deserve it. Without the person saying, you deserve it, you're always saying, oh, are you gonna give me this amount of money when I become your girlfriend or when I become your boyfriend? So it's a form of socioeconomic abuse. And then harmful traditional practices, this is female genital mutilation, early marriages. In some cultures, once you get to become a teenager, they force you to get married to someone older than you, and it can be a form of also GBVF. And then we have contributing factors. So GBVF does not have causes of it. It has contributing factors, meaning these are the things that contribute to people to be perpetrators or be victims of GBVF. So we have society where there is poverty, economic, social, and gender inequality. We grew up in homes or villages or cities where they say, a man is bigger than a woman, or a woman is to withhold the cards of a man, the salary cards of a man, so everything can be balanced in the house. So that gender inequality can also contribute to GBVF. Poor social security, weak legal, criminal justice system, perpetrators not prosecuted. And then also the community, we have high unemployment, high population density, social isolation of females and family, and inadequate survivor care. And then in relationships, we have family dysfunctions. So family dysfunction, it happens usually when an uncle at home is perpetrating a young child or a niece, but when they speak out, they say you can't speak like that for older people. It's not right. It means you are wrong and he's never done that to you. So it becomes that sort of a challenge, and that contributes to GBVF. Poor parenting practices, not listening to your child, whether they are 2 years old or 3 years old or in high school, it's important to listen to your child. There is a recent case now that happened of a young boy. He was raped by their stepfather, and it's been continuing for a long time, but we don't know what happened in the parental house. But sometimes we don't listen to children. We think, oh well, they're just saying, they're just children and maybe it's a dream, they're imagining things. But it's important to listen to your child. And if maybe you are not understanding what they're saying, it's important to take them to a professional who will now perform or conduct a psychometric assessment to check what is the child trying to communicate. And then that can also lessen the GBVF rate. And then we have individuals, gender, age, and education. So when you don't have knowledge that when someone does this to you, this means that you are being abused, you tend to think it's a form of love. And it happens usually in our students, where if a boyfriend says, you are not going to that party or you're not going out with your friends, they see it as a form of love. Or maybe when a lady says, if I find you with who and who, I will kick you. You think, yo, she loves me so much, she will even fight for me. No, it's not a form of love. It's just the beginning of a GBVF situation. Because it starts like that, it's interesting, you are feeling nice that someone is jealous over you, but that jealous will now be on you, whereby this person will not even allow you to live your life and want to control your life. Remember with GBVF, we want to control the other person's life based on what I want, not what you want. And then also we have witnessing gender-based violence. So growing up, if you see that at home there is gender-based violence, you tend to think, oh, this is a normal way of living, and maybe I can also practice it on my friends, on my partner, because it keeps them in a straight line. And then the other contributing factors, we have alcohol and drug abuse. Remember that when you are under the influence, everything goes. You can even want to fight this whole hall because you think you are powerful. So alcohol and drug abuse can also intrigue that in you to make you want to be abusive. So we have belief systems where we have myth and truth. So the myth that we have, they say, when a person wants to have sex, they must have sex. It's not even a choice, meaning if it's there, it has to happen. And then it says it is not possible for a man to rape his wife or wife to rape their husband. It's a myth, right? So if you're in a relationship and you are in action and then your partner in action says no, it's important to take their no. Because if you don't take their no, what happens? It means you are forcing yourself onto them. And they have the right to report you the following day to say, this person has done this to me. So it's important to not say, because we are partners, we agreed, it means every day we must be in action. And then most people in romantic relationships say no when they really mean yes. We even confuse this by saying, oh, she was smiling when she was saying no. It means she wants. It doesn't mean that. Take what they're saying and don't take what social media is feeding you to say, guys, don't listen to them. These people, they want us. Or these people, they can't live without us. Let's be people that respect other people's choices and their human rights. And victims of abuse can live a violent relationship if they really want to. This is a myth. Remember that when you are in a cycle of being abused, it's not easy to just stand up one day and leave. And I know when you're on the other side, you tend to say, if it was me, after the first slap, I would have left. But you were not there. This being in an abusive relationship keeps you in it. It doesn't start off by slapping you. It starts off by conditioning you to believe that this is right. And by the time it is now, you are in deep waters, you can't walk out. It's not easy to walk out. Hence, some people, they end up dying, and some end up having mental disorders. So the truth is that violence is used to control people and get one's way. That girlfriend or boyfriend who says you can't go there without my permission, they are gaining control over you bit by bit. They are not loving you more, they are not jealous of you more or protecting you more, but they are controlling you. Once you say yes to that one thing, you are going to say yes to even more things. And then also men, just like women, do have impulse control and therefore can control their sexual urges. This is what I meant when I said no. If someone says no to you, be irresponsible enough to say, okay, it's fine, we'll try again. Don't just force yourself to say, oh, because now I am in this position and I need you to help me to get out of this position. It is not right. And it is up to individuals, communities, and societies to challenge this myth so that violence against women is not accepted or tolerated. So we are one, right? So meaning that if we stand together as a community, as a society, we can fight this thing off. And fighting it off is also being a whistleblower. Don't be that person who says, oh, it's for them to solve, I can't be involved. But when something happens, you're gonna be affected because you've seen it happening and you did nothing about it. But when you do something about it, you are able to say, I tried and I didn't win, rather than to say, I didn't try because it's not my business. So it's important to involve yourself. And then barriers to seeking care, the most commonly mentioned reasons for not seeking help for victims is their gender norms and stereotypes. They are afraid of being labeled weak, and this happens usually for the men where they feel like, I can't report my wife for abusing me. What are they gonna think of me at the police station? They're gonna think I'm weak, so I'll just man it up. So it's important to seek help even when you feel that it's going to put you in a compromising manner, that people are gonna think you're weak, but at the end of the day, you are saving yourself. And they were embarrassed or afraid of being blamed or not believed. This happens usually because the person that is the perpetrator is someone who is well respected. Then you end up saying, if I am to speak, no one is going to believe me. So hence it's important that when you're an immediate responder, you need to ensure safety. If someone comes to you and says, this happened to me, and it's by who and who, it's important to create a safe environment. It is to listen and believe, and to also provide psychological first aid, just to check how this person is feeling, how it happened, how are they feeling at that current moment as they are telling you. And also document the facts so you don't forget. I get it, if you're going to help this person to open the case or to accompany them to the centers where they assist, it is important that you also document the facts. And also refer to appropriate services. Don't just take matters in your own hands where someone comes to you, reports that this and this happened to me, and then you start by saying, yeah, we are striking tomorrow, we're going to ban that person. It's not right. So refer to the appropriate services so you can get the appropriate help. So this is just a slide that I included just to show that GBVF, it does not say because you are black, white, Indian, China, young or old, woman or female, you are excused from experiencing GBVF. These are some of the cases that we have seen country worldwide, that it happens even at the most places that you feel that it is safe, but it is not safe. So getting into mental health, it is described as the state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and can contribute to his or her own family, community, and society. This means that for one to be mentally healthy, one should have basic cognitive and social skills, ability to recognize, express, and regulate one's own emotion, be able to empathize with others, ability to cope with the difficult life circumstances. For a person that has been through GBVF, it's difficult to have all these 4 points, to have basic cognitive skills. Hence, people say it is easy to leave. That person's cognitive is not in the right manner to say, I think I want to leave now. They're always thinking, no, because this person assaulted me today, but the following day they said sorry, and then we were fine for like 3 days. It means it was just a once-off thing. And then it happens again, and then then you start to say, I'm gonna leave. Then the pattern continues. They then say sorry, buy you something or take you somewhere, and then you think, oh, it was just a 2-time thing. Until it is embedded in your cognitive that this is how we are, it's normal. If I leave, it means I'm gonna find another person who's the same as this one. So it is difficult for that person to have those cognitive skills. So mental health exists on a continuum. This continuum says healthy, mild, moderate, and severe. So healthy, it's your normal functioning, everything is fine, you are enjoying, you are able to have basic cognitive skills, you are able to regulate your emotions. And then mild, it's common and reversible distress. So this is when, for an example, stress at an exam. I can also make an example with myself that when I got here, I was feeling a bit nervous, but when I get off, I'm going to be fine. So it's just mild, meaning it's reversible. And then also moderate, it's significant functional impairment, meaning that relationship breakup or financial pressures. This is the part where you now need to seek help. So usually with GBVF, they'll be healthy, mild, but when they get to moderate, then that's when everything starts being a bit shaky. Meaning that now it's significant and functional. One day you are fine. It's that cycle that is now starting to embed in you, where one day you are fine, the other day you feel like, hey, but I'm not sure. The other day you are fine again. And then the severe, it is the severe and persistent functional impairment that is classified by depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So with GBVF survivors or victims, when they get to the severe stage, it is the stage where they are only living because the body is alive, but the brain is no longer in conjunction with the body is no longer in conjunction with the brain. So GBVF includes emotional abuse, coercion, and control that deeply affects mental well-being. This is what I was talking about. It is a form of trauma that affects the body and the mind, often leading to long terms of psychological consequences. Those consequences I mentioned to say depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Find that even if this person survives the incidences, they tend to now have those anxiety, PTSD, or depression, where they can't even think for themselves. They heal, but they always have that thing to say, maybe I might even fall for someone who will be like that as well. And then perpetrators may also have unresolved trauma, poor emotional regulation, or substance abuse issues. So GBVF does not start because you woke up one morning and you feel like, today I'm powerful, I want to do this. It is something that has been there. Your unresolved trauma, you take it out by maybe bullying other people, or maybe making other people feel sad. Like the saying that goes to say, sad people want to make other people sad. So you feel like, why am I feeling this way? For me not to feel this way alone, let me also create this in another person. And then survivors may already be vulnerable due to prior mental health struggles. Remember that for that continuum, some people, they can notice that, okay, this person has a behavioral problem and I'm not going to stay. Some can say, oh, let me give them a chance. It happened once and it's been 3 months now, it didn't happen again. Then you sit to just wait to see how everything unfolds. And then these are the common mental health disorders. Post-traumatic disorder, it is when you have went through a traumatic experience, be it car accident, be it being in an abusive relationship. So you have stress over that, whereby you experience sleepless nights, you experience not being able to function properly as a human being. And then depression, it is the suppression of your mind, meaning that you are alive, but your mind is not functioning properly. You can't make best decisions for yourself. You are just moving because you feel that, okay, let me just wake up and go where I need to go. Some don't even wake up. They are always in bed, losing interest in activities that they used to love, and also just being someone who is now isolated. And then we have anxiety. Anxiety, it is excessive fear, meaning this person will be fearful of everything and anything that might show that it's going to harm them. So this is just intimate partner violence continuum, the way I was saying that it doesn't just start off as someone going up the violence. It starts as insulting, controlling and manipulating, isolating, threatening, and then the violence then comes after. Meaning that if you are with someone and they name call you, make it stop right away. If they cannot stop doing that, leave if you can. Because name calling goes to manipulating, controlling, isolating, and once you're isolated, it is hard for you to seek help, because now you think, if I'm to go, they'll think I just want attention. Maybe they won't take me serious, because this person has now moved you from the people that you are close to, that can actually help you. And then this also is the cycle of violence, where there is tension, there is violence, guilt, apology, and then calmness. So all this cycle, it doesn't just happen once for it to be embedded in your cognitive. It happens a lot of times, but not in the same week. Obviously, maybe after 2 weeks, it happens. After a month, it happens. But by the time you are stuck in the cycle, it's been happening for a long time. So the Higher Education GBF Policy and Strategy Framework, they say that grading or rating of appearance by verbal comments is a form of GBV. Because we like commenting on other people's appearances, as if there is a perfect picture of how we are all supposed to look like. So you're commenting on someone else's head, nose, ears. What are they supposed to do with that? It means you are making that person live their whole life thinking that there's something wrong with the body part that I have. And that is you making them uncomfortable and infringing on their human right. Wolf whistling and other noises. Maybe someone is waking up and you're doing, ooh, ah, yeah, did you see that? That is also making them uncomfortable. Are you not making them feel like, what are you looking at? So it's not right to do all of that. Stalking and repeated unwanted requests for dates. If you ask them out once, they say no, then go on to another person that you like. This goes both for females and males, not just males only. So if you are to like someone, you say, can I take you out? They say no, say, okay, fine. Because when you keep on doing it, it's like you're saying your answer is not right. Give me the right one, which is to say yes. And you're forcing that person to now agree to what you want. And then the use of work as an excuse for inappropriate private meetings, sexual assault, physical assault by intimate partners or against individuals perceived as gender non-conforming, spying or intruding upon women in the residence while bathing or dressing, and also, in the case of abusive relationships, preventing or interfering with partners' studies, including by withholding fees. Some people even take your student card away to say, oh, you're going to write an exam, I'm going to take your ID or student card away. That is you abusing that person to have the freedom of getting education. So this policy that they have, you need to look at it and see if you are not a victim or you are not someone who's going through this and you're just keeping quiet. So GBVF, it is a mirror that reflects the gender stereotyping in society and the pattern of unequal social relations created by patriarchal cultures. Men and women do not experience the same forms of GBF, nor do they experience violence to the same extent. Even if it's not the same, but because it is violating your human rights, it is still GBVF. Not caring whether you are a male or a female. GBVF also perpetuates vulnerability while compromising the health, safety, and autonomy of survivors, keeping them trapped in a cycle of violence and abuse. So remember that it does not only affect you physically, it also affects you emotionally. So at Higher Health, like I said, that we want you to graduate alive, healthy, and on record time. We have a toll-free life crisis line that you can call 24 hours, any language that you will be requesting. The number is 0800 363636. So this is the number that you can call anytime if you are feeling that you don't want to talk to anyone on campus about what is happening to you, or you feel like you just want to talk in your own room, in your phone, then we are available on that number. So please do reach out, because it's not happening until it happens to you. And when it happens to you, you start now saying, and I saw it happening and I didn't know what to do. But we have this free line, toll-free line for you, for mahala. Nothing's going to be paid for. Even when you get a counselor appointed to you, they are going to be for free. No one is going to charge you for that, so that we can all heal and become better citizens of the country. And guys, remember to be whistleblowers, because I have been to cases where it's a GBVF and the person ended up passing away, and then you have people saying, we've seen this happening, but we didn't want to get into their business. Now I feel like I should have said something. And it's painful to see how it even affects the people that were just people that were seeing and not being involved in the incident. So please guys, let's be whistleblowers. You can do it anonymously on the campus, occupational health and safety. You don't have to speak your names or give your numbers. Just be there to say, I saw this happening, and please don't say my name, but please go assist these people. And with that said, thank you so much from Higher Health.
Thanks very much. Another round of applause. Demanding money from your boyfriend is also a criminal case. That was very clear. It's not from me. Thanks very much. It is exactly 12:37. With a good heart that I'm having, I've requested from our senior members to give us a break, just a stretch break, a 10 minutes break. We take photos. We also check on the stalls for 10 minutes, meaning by 12:47, we are all back here at the hall for the last part of our program, wherein we are going to engage. We will expect learners to come with questions, comments. Please feel free. Otherwise, this is the only platform. Rule number 1 is, during the 10 minutes break, you don't go out. You don't leave the college. We are all coming back here. That's the instruction. In case you decide to leave, there are 5 offenses that are waiting for you. Number 1 offense is failure to comply with the instruction of the principal. Number 2, bringing Department of Education into disrepute. Number 3, leaving your guest SAPS unattended in this hall. All the way from Pretoria, you just decide to leave them. Number 4, it's too much. Number 4, you are inviting yourself a criminal record, because obviously we are going to arrest you for that. Number 5, leaving your food, leaving food that was prepared for you. Who is going to eat that food? The government will lose. So ladies and gentlemen, please come back here. We are going to operate in this fashion. You remain standing, you don't move. My sister, there are protocols, We are all going to stand up as we allow the leadership to be the ones to leave first. That's the leadership for you. Also endorsed by the Bible to say the leaders that you are having in this world are endorsed by God. Leadership. And I will also be following them while you remain standing. $12.50. We are all back here. DJ, please play something. It's that time.
And Sergeant Mongwe, thank you very much for kuchuisela bana ba ina with those charges. But I can confirm with you, Dr. Baloy, that our students are back in this session, not because of those charges that were threatened, but it's because they've got order. Let's give our students a big round of applause. These are our students, they've got order. Major General Matonzi, they've got order. When you say you come back, you come back. When you say you can leave, you leave. So Sergeant Mongwe, namuhla minge coming chumu. Right, you can see. Thank you very much. We're now moving on with our engagement. We've got our panel members who will be in front. The rest of the members who are here, they are not part of the panel. They are just complementing the whole structure. But we'll be having 4 panel members who will be in front. We are going to do engagements, ladies and gentlemen. There were presentations since we started this morning. Then now we need to move in order to engage, to interrogate, to question, to get clarity as far as all presentations that were made since this morning up to this present moment. Sergeant Mongwe?
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. You have taken all my words. Maybe let me confirm that I will go down with the microphone so that the first group, those who wish to pose questions or they want to request for clarity, they will be raising their hands. Then I will be moving around to make sure that they are given that platform. Let me also confirm that I have the representation from the national, the provincial, and the district, as well as the Civilian Secretariat for Police Services. So meaning from the SAPS side, we are covered. All our panels are here, including me at the local level. I'm here.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Mongwe. I can also confirm that from the Department of Higher Education and Training, we are here. We are also here at Shortil Rain. Yeah. Right. I see we've got some microphones there at the back. So we are going to start with engagement. Maybe, I don't know, take a set of what? 5? A set of 5 questions. A set of 5 questions that will be posing to our panel members. Then now they'll get an opportunity to respond. Then now we'll take another set of 5 or follow-up questions. As we move like that, then I will be getting closer to our end of our program. Let's start. I see marshals. Thank you very much. Let me start. See the hands. Let's raise up the hands so that I can note the hands so that we can have order. Let me start. The first person, you are more than welcome to ask in Xitsonga, in Chivenda, Kakilobelu, in Afrikaans, any language that is in our constitution. You are more than welcome. We will interpret that. Right, first hand, Litsola Matomo. Throughout all our engagements, let us engage our panel members here. Right, let me start. There's a hand. Okay, I thought it's a hand. It's fine. Right, there's a hand there. Number 1, I'm noting you, number 1. Number 2. Right, there is number 2. I'm noting you. Number 3. Number 3. If you look at me, I will volunteer on your behalf that you are number 3. Hey, right, number 3. Number 3, okay, it's fine. While we'll be waiting for number 3, let's get number 1 and number 2. Thank you.
I don't know. Okay. I thought maybe. Yeah. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Malajika Morelo Master from Sefel Duncan. I do have a question. This question, I don't know, will you able to answer me now or what? As a man, we do have some challenges that we face outside there. Number one, basadi ba ba re lapisa, ba re tshwenya. I don't know re ke be bjang. And the thing, area police station, if you give a case, as a man, one say abara, ya kone ya uru na ule case na. But nanga bia msali lito, o kwa defense ngote di insho kwa kuzwe chelete. So we can opela this issue basadi ba ke re tshwenya. So it's very much painful because of burna ba ngwa re khone ulwa le basadi. Mara basadi ba ba re tshwenya. So ladies, ke a le hopela re treat sharp because of ke a tseba maphodisa nna ke fa statement ba ka senteletse, but when a lady give you a statement ba bile ba record, so go pela re treat o tshwana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I get a signal from our panel members if the question is well captured? Right. The question is well captured. Thank you very much. Number 2.
Amanda Comrade students. Amanda students. Amanda students. Okay. All the protocols are observed. Standing before you is grass cutter. SAPS, together with the college management, I have only just a smaller question to ask, and I also require a clarity from that. My first question is that, for example, I will just try to give a smaller detail of what transpired back there. There was a certain situation whereby one of our students got arrested when trying to assist the college in terms of resolving the issue that was happening into the campus. So now my question is to the SAPS. Is it wrong for a person like me without a rank or any uniform from law enforcement to go and assist in resolving an issue that just arose at the community in order to maintain the order while we're waiting for the police officer? And is that person going to be arrested for being part of that particular formation or being part of that situation whereby he was trying to assist the college, for example, because of most of the things that happen into our institutions since we are youth? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our third question. I said I'm going to open a set of 5. The third question. All right, Nagir. All right, maybe from the responses that we'll be getting, then you will have follow-up questions based on that. In the absence of any further questions, let me give this opportunity to the panel members to respond. I'm not sure, Tomaga. Right, we'll get. Thank you very much.
General Skeppers.
Let me just acknowledge the presence of the management of the college, General Matonzi, General Mashava, all the other generals, colleagues. I think the first speaker was saying that, please, ladies, you must respect and don't go and open a case unnecessary. It will be a very sad day when we utilize law to pressure somebody else. You are the leaders of tomorrow. And the country that you are building, it's your future. It's your tomorrow. So if you start abusing the process now, where will you end? What future will you create? Am I right? And I'm talking to the youth. So I think we must respect ourselves first, respect the fellow person next to me or my fellow student, respect the authority over me, and then when I go to the police station and complain, I do so because something happened. So let us not abuse the system to try and push the next person to do what he or she doesn't want to do. And it happens, unfortunately. But we need to cultivate a culture. We need to adopt a culture where we are saying, we are the future generation. We are going to create a better tomorrow. The second one was, if you go and interfere where there's already a situation, will you be arrested? Now, people, we can interfere in a lot of ways, am I right? So if a person was arrested by the police, nothing stops you to go and interfere. But once you interfere in such a way that you are outside the law, yes, you will be arrested. But nothing stops you to go and question and ask questions. But normally how we interfere is we try to resist the police, or we call for a protest action, or we're closing the college gates, which happened here in this college once, that I'm aware of. So the moment you interfere in the wrong way, yes, you will be arrested. Our actions must speak exactly what we want from the future. If we try to, because we are unhappy because the police arrested a student and we try to block the college, what are we actually doing? We are preventing other people from getting their education. If we go and protest to the police station because the police arrested, in fact, that is not your place to be. But once you want to go and assist and you ask questions, and you understand that maybe they need support, yes, you can support. But let us not, in support, take the law into our own hands, because then surely you have a problem. And you, young generation, I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying. One conviction, where will you get a job in future? What are you doing at this campus if you are not taking care of that future? Protest action to go and interfere at the police station, or go and march, or go and burn something, is that the future that you want to see? No. So let us, when we want to interfere, or when we want to question, or when we want to assist, let's do it always with that one thing in mind. It's your future. The bad thing about this issue that we're all going to rally for one person. Let me share the reality, because I love reality. Let me share this with you. If you will be arrested and you stand in court, you are going to face the music alone. Can I repeat? You will face the music alone. That's not the kind of country that we want to create. That's not the kind of future that you want to create. That is not the reason why you are studying here today. You are here to make a better tomorrow. Always keep that in mind. Don't get involved when other people say, hey, let us go and interfere. Just come and join, come and join. No. But if you want to interfere, and let me not use the word interfere because you will be arrested. But if you want to go and assist, and you go and assist in a respectful way, there will be no arrest. We will allow you, we'll give you the information depending on what is the situation. Are we clear on that, colleagues? Are you happy? Always remember this. There's a reason why you are here today. You are the leaders of tomorrow. And I know where you are sitting, and by rightly so, you might sit there and criticize the current leadership. Am I right? You see what we are doing wrong. As an older generation, you can see where we are going wrong. And we are not always right. This is your opportunity to create a better tomorrow. This is your opportunity to the wrongs that we've done to correct them, but do it in a way that will build a better future. I thank you.
Thanks very much, General Skippers, the Deputy Provincial Commissioner of Limpopo Province responsible for crime prevention. Let me check if is there any additions from the South African Police Service. The General is coming. Let's clap hands for the General.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Mine is just a quick one, that you have rights in terms of the Constitution. There are things that you can do. You can express yourself, the law allows you. The only thing that I want to warn you on is, as long as it's within the law, you can do anything. What we tend not to talk about when we talk about human rights, we don't talk about the limitations. There are limitations as to how far do you go with your rights. So be careful as a student that whatever that you do it, as long as it's within your rights. You can express yourself, you can demonstrate. But if you are banning a library, we are crossing the line, and then your rights falls away. And that's where the problem starts. Thank you.
Civilian Secretariat of the Police.
Good afternoon once more, and all protocol observed. To the first question, in short, Mwanaka, the Civilian Secretariat for Police is the office that looks at the behavior and the service of the police to you as a community. Therefore, if, and I'm calling that if with capital letters, if it happens that you experience such a situation at a police station, you have the station commander, you have the vice-pol commander within the station. You also have a community policing forum member or chairperson in any capacity. You can call upon those and indicate, or officer so-and-so, sergeant so-and-so, constable so-and-so, or brigadier so-and-so treated me this way, or they laughed at me when I got into the police station to report a GBV and F matter. And within the police stations and anywhere you meet a police officer, they are all name tagged. There is no way that you will not, in the group that was laughing at you, know that there was Officer Mukufi in the group that was laughing at me. And of significance, which is what you must know as you get into a police station to report a sexual offense or a gender-based violence offense, is that the SAPS have a gender-based violence desk. And we have victim-friendly rooms as well that were spoken about. Lieutenant Colonel Mukufi also referred you to the ministerial 6-point plan, which indicates the rules or the strategies that the police must use to attend to a complainant of gender-based violence and femicide. So if, and only if you come into that problem at any of our police stations, you have a very strict system within the SAPS, and you have the Civilian Secretariat for Police if you don't get reprieve to that. To the grass cutter, within the rights, we have responsibilities, Mwanaka. I would urge all of the students in here to go and read the preamble of our Constitution. Read it with an understanding, and you will know the significance of every right that is contained in the Constitution and your actions and behavior in upholding those rights and recognizing what they are meant to be. Thank you.
Civilian Secretariat of the Police, making sure that we are watched on daily basis. Let me check if is there any additions from SAPS. Any additions from the college in relation to the questions, although it was directed to the police, but if there are any additions, this is the platform. Thanks very much. Let me move to the second round of questioning. Let me check by the show of hands. I see 1, 2, 3. 1 at the back, 2 middle, and the third one is here. Let me check. 4. Let me check. Oh, 5. I'm closing. I will allow the ushers to move with the mic. We are starting at the back. The first one at the back. Please raise your hand so that the ushers can see.
Good afternoon, fellow parents, students, and all protocol observed. My name is Charmaine Mayinda, and I'm also from this campus. So, my fellow parents, my question is, what is the disciplinary process for an officer who mocks, blames, or turns away a student trying to report a sexual offense? And also, how can a student report an officer's misconduct anonymously without fear of retaliation? And also that, are there female officers available 24/7 to take statements in a private victim-friendly room? And with my conclusion, I'm asking, if ever, how does the station monitor case withdrawal rates? If many students drop cases, which often points on how they were treated by the first responding officer. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Before we move to the second question, I will just want to pause for 30 seconds so that they can quickly jot down all the points that were raised and to confirm if all the facts were well captured. Because a person like me, when I hear, I can't grab everything when you are too fast. Let me check by the indication from our panels. They are still making sure that they keep record of that. We can move to the second question. Still at the back, I believe.
Good day, everyone. Standing before you is Michael Minarikinel. I have a confession with the issue of transportation. I have an issue with a question with the issue of transportation, mainly around Makushan to Namahal. We have taxis versus avances. So we are bari choosela gore re shumishe transport efe and rena re bana ba sekolo, which means that we will go for the cheapest, which is avances, and it's 10 rand. So the taxi drivers, they are aggressive. At some point they are infringing our rights. We have a right to choose gore re nyaka ho shumisha transport efe angere, and also we know that we are jeopardizing their businesses. So I would like to ask, aren't they maybe solutions about regarding this issue, transportation, because they are aggressive towards us as customers. One okakhumana ona meche avansa, wa ukakola uisha taxing, like why? Kina le problem ene we fail.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question is why? Why? A round of applause for that. The loggerheads between the two forms of transport, the taxis and the avanzas. The question is why? They are busy jotting down. They will sign for me so that we move to the third one. Thanks very much. We're moving to the third one. I saw a hand somewhere here. Please raise that hand so that our ushers can easily spot. There was a hand here. Please raise your hand. Ushers, here is the number 3. Raise that hand. It seems our usher is lost. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Question number 3.
Dumela, the person standing in front of you is Mr. Mtlongo. I got 3 questions. Number 1, if a student reports a lecture for sexual harassment, such as exchanging marks, so the student have been reported that matter and that issue have been not resolved, that lecture still behave the same, where the student can elevate this issue. Number 2, sorry. If I'm accused such as a wrongdoing, so the case has been cleared, my criminal record will still remain. Number 3, sometimes people, when they go to police stations, when they want to report the case, they found out the police officer, they just standing, they don't help those people for, such as Mutela Okrafi Kilemola since Ka1, but bottom Tusha Ka 6 late. How can that solve you or that person report that issue? Thank you.
3 questions. That was 3 questions. Last one was about standing from 1 o'clock. You get help around 1,800 hours. I believe the panels have taken note of that. They will indicate to me as soon as they are done. Thanks very much. We are moving to the 4th one here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Malaji Majie. I am a student of Mopani TVET College. My question is regarding a rape. I want to ask question about rape. You, the police, you deal about your aim is about a mission to prevent and combat crime, and which is you prevent rape, you prevent a violence against us. My question is about children who got raped. Is why
Maybe let me also repeat that any language is welcome. To simplify, you are welcome in any language. Sorry to interject, you can continue. You can continue, my girl.
If someone got arrested, a committed a crime ya rape vana, laba arresta, badulane ke kakan by prison cause batho abanji laba tshwara ba busha ba boya after 8 months. So Iluri, your mission is to prevent and combat crime. To combat crime, which means we are suffering against something. That means we are suffering against them. How can you protect us against such people? Thank you.
Thanks very much. Babuya, after 8 months, how best can you resolve this? Question number 5. Before you start, let me pause just 10 seconds so that I keep record. Suspects of rapes coming back just after 8 months. We are moving. Last question.
Okay, hello everyone. First, I would like to greet our leadership and our
Can
fellow
I have your
students.
attention, please?
So now I want clarity based on the act or law that protects the vulnerable. So I hear that they protect the disabled ones and the older one, 8 years and above, also including the females. So as we are all human beings, regardless of the race, so but our law that have been enforced, it's based on the females. Okay, under 25 years, females are vulnerable. What about the males one? I want clarity based on that because it looks like our government is taking sides. As my brother mentioned that if you can go and report a case while you are a man reporting a female, they will laugh at you. So I want clarity why us or the males one under the age of 25 are not regarded as vulnerables.
Thanks very much. That was the second round of questioning. We will open for the third round if needs be. But I see only the last hand there. Maybe I can just close with the sixth one so that when we go, maybe they will wrap in terms of questioning. Question number 6. Or the sixth person to ask questions.
Hi everyone. My question is, what happens to a police officer who purposely loses the case file, all to protect the perpetrator who is a family member or a sibling?
Can you repeat that, please? Can you repeat that again?
So, my question goes like this. What happens to a police officer who purposely loses a case file or to protect the perpetrator who is a sibling or relative?
Thanks very much. Well captured. Well captured. Those were 6 people raising questions. Now it's time for the South African Police Service to come first and clarify. The Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Limpopo Province, General Skippers.
I didn't get the name for the last speaker, but Charmaine was the first speaker. I'm going to address your question and I will touch on the last person's question as well. I want to be very clear on this one. As the provincial management, we are serious about service delivery to our community, males and females. We are very serious. If there is misconduct by a member, any kind of misconduct where he ill-treats a person, where he didn't do his job, the station commander is available. Myself as the Deputy Provincial Commissioner available. The District Commissioner General Mashaba is available. The Portfolio Committee is available, am I correct? Whenever there is on oversight of SAPS. So IPIT is there. So there is no reason for any police officer to ill-treat you or to treat you in a manner that is not respectful or not responding to your complaint within time. The moment you report that, and I think somebody else asked, well, if we want to report it anonymously, you can also report it anonymously. We have our app, it's available, how to rate our service, or you can send it to IPIT without anybody knowing who you are. And we will definitely not tolerate that. I hope it's clear. We are not going to tolerate that. Once you put on this uniform, you are there to serve, irrespective of who's in front of you. I hope that you will not refrain from reporting. Your identity will be protected at all times. You don't have to worry about that. The female officer on duty, there's always at all the police stations, there's a 24-hour service rendered by those police stations. There are female officers available. So when a person comes in, a female, obviously you'll get different treatment. And we will take you to a private cubicle where they will take down your statement. On the withdrawal cases, I'm sure FCS generally will touch on the withdrawals. I'm not going to do that. And then it was the issue of confidentiality. If a SAPS member loses a docket, colleagues, I think you know what is happening in Madlanga Commission. Eh? You are watching Madlanga Commission. You see what corruption is doing to this country. Don't, when a police officer, one is not doing his job, or when a police officer is committing a crime, when he's taking this bribes and this chocho from these people, where he protects, or where he loses a docket, I can assure you, if the member is found guilty, he will know, he or she will no longer be a policeman. Myself, and I'm talking on behalf of the generals here in front, we are serious about turning the police around. We are serious about rooting out corruption. And as a provincial management, that's one of our aims. But we cannot do it on our own. So please, when the police do those things, come forward and report. You will always be protected. Your identity will be protected. Please come to us. Somewhere when you see that members are not doing the right thing, somewhere you cannot just keep quiet. Please approach us. I hope you understand. Help us to better build to build a better police service. There, I can assure you, in this province, I can commend 95% of the police officers here. 95% of the police officers in this province are hard-working men and women in blue. Unfortunately, that 5% that is busy to destroy what we try to build, let me and you take hands. Let's get rid of them and build a better future. Thank you. General Mashava.
Thank you, General. Yeah. Good people, let me respond relating to taxis, visas, advances. Unfortunately, the Department of Transport is not here, more especially the traffic. Whoever operates in South Africa must have what we call operating licenses to officiate people faring community. Now, taxis, majority of the taxis have what we call operating licenses, but the advancers don't have. So, if you happen to board Avanza instead of taxis and something get wrong, you are not insured. So that is the difference. Up until they have operating licenses, currently at the moment they do not have. So I think you need to differentiate between the two. Now, majority of people indicate that when they arrive at the police station, more especially the men that they are laughed at, we can't condone such behavior. When you get laughed at when you are reporting, the station commanders are there to assist you. Like the one that indicated that you arrive at 11 but you get assisted late. Each and every police station have station commander to assist. But I know that most of the people, even here at Palabora, I used to get a lot of calls from the community members where they will indicate that I went to a certain police station and I didn't get an assistant. But when you ask that particular person, have you spoken with the station commander? I don't have the number of the station commander. Now, the question that I will make as a follow-up, why do you have my number whereas the station commander is there locally? So, majority of the people, they don't take station commanders' particulars so that as and when they have problems, they quickly phone the station commander to get an assistant there and there. But let me call the 3 station commanders of Wapalabor to the fore. Unfortunately, these 3, they can't pay allowance that you guys used to request because they are the females. I want you to be ready because I want to give you their numbers so that as and when you encounter a problem, you know who to talk to. Next to me is Colonel Bila. Is the station commander of Namahale. She's having official cell phone operating 24 hours. If you phone her, you don't get her. Does not mean that it is off. She's at the place where there's no network coverage. Her number is 082 565 8074. I repeat, 082 565 8074. Next to her is Colonel Maswangani of Lulekan. The number for Station Commander Lulekan is 082 565 8590. I repeat, 082 565 8590. And the last one is Colonel Ngoveni. She's the station commander of Palabura here in town. Her number is 082 565 8244. I repeat, 082 565 8244. I hope and believe you will utilize them in order to get assistance as soon as possible. Thanks very much.
General Mashaba, the District Commissioner of Mopani. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still continuing from the SAPS side, clarifying, answering questions that were posed. Not sure if we have to wrap from the SAPS and shoot straight to the college because there is a matter and we are in waiting for that docket. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences, FCS, national.
Thank you very much. On the question of withdrawal of cases, we need to mention and re-emphasize that the withdrawal of cases is totally discouraged. It's part of the efforts that stakeholders within the criminal justice cluster, we are making sure that no case will be withdrawn that relates to GBV and F. Unfortunately, there are those instances where we found that our communities are opening cases and at a later stage they want to withdraw the cases. We are totally discouraging the withdrawal of cases. And part of our monitoring, we are having tools within the South African Police Services to monitor our cases that are reported, make sure that those cases, the suspects identified are arrested and taken to court. And as and when we see that there were cases that were withdrawn before court or after, we do make audit of those dockets, trying to find reasons as to why those dockets were withdrawn. And from that, we are able to meet the necessary people. If it's the victim herself or himself, that victim is being engaged in that regard. If cases were withdrawn at court, sometimes the court is being given wrong information. Information like, we have discussed the matter and we have agreed. There is no negotiations with regard to cases of GBV, because the more you negotiate, the more you are putting your life at risk. And at the end, it's like the South African Police Service, sometimes NPA or justice, we are not doing anything. So that is totally being discouraged. Don't withdraw the case. Don't allow someone to mediate a sexual offense matter. There was also issue regarding the bail. Maybe if I have to summarize, the speaker that raised a question that a person committed a rape, and then after 8 months, the person is back in the community. As part of making sure that the perpetrators of gender-based violence end up in prisons, we are making sure that there are formal bail applications for all sexual offenses cases. There is a formal bail application for domestic violence cases. Maybe if you are here, you know of someone that have committed a domestic violence. You will know that that person was remanded in custody for 7 days while police are gathering information regarding the bail. That you would know. You'd also know that if a case was opened against the husband and the husband was remanded in custody, and there was a case that was opened by the husband against the wife, you would for a fact know that the wife was also arrested. That's how serious we are as the South African Police Service with regard to GBVF cases. The people that are opening counter charges against each other, we are dealing with those. Remember, it's still within the right of the persons to apply for bail. Where it happens that you were successful in terms of applying for bail, there were new facts that were put on the table for you to can get bail. You will get bail, but that doesn't mean that it is the end with regard to the case that has been investigated. That bail will have conditions, and those conditions must always be honored. And if that is not the case, the investigating officer is always there to make sure that if the bail conditions are not being honored, make sure that that is addressed. There was also an issue with regard to the expungement of cases. There are cases that are not prescribing, meaning they don't get to the end, as and when those cases remains on your record. And we are talking about instances where you were found guilty of an offense. Please be mindful that there will be those offenses that you will commit, you are found being guilty, and they will stay in your record. In cases where the case was opened against you and the case was withdrawn or you were found not guilty, the investigating officer needs to make sure that the necessary administration is done to the office of the local criminal record center, whereby that pending, because it will appear as if you are having a pending case, that information must be brought under the attention of the local criminal record center, where that pending will be cleared against your name. And I think the issue of corruption, the general have already touched on the corruption. We don't have to misuse our powers. And as you are aware that there is a crime that has been committed, you need to report as soon as possible. And that also goes with issues of extortion. No one is going to demand money from you for you to get a better service, and no one. And I think with the issues of the management of sexual offenses, the management of harassment cases within the campus, I think the management will respond to the protocols that are in place to make sure that all the incidents are reported. The South African Police Service offices, the Client Service Center is opened 24 hours for all those reports to come in. And General Matonzi, I think this is part of the things that are going to unfold, that there are no limitations with regard to the reporting of sexual offenses. It doesn't mean that if you did not report that to the school or to the university, you cannot go to the police station. You can call the police station anytime when you have been violated, and the investigation will start from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll be getting additions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Just two quick one. Just to emphasize, I think the college will touch on the issue of sexual harassment and all that. All I want to say is that as a student, if you feel that you are violated, you are free to report it. That is entirely up to you. That if you feel that you are violated for whatever reason, go to the police station, you will report. The officers will assess and determine what process or even advise you on what needs to be done. And then lastly, the other one is around the issue of the Act protecting the vulnerables, the elderly females, and those with a mental disability. That's how the Act stands of now, but it doesn't mean that the men are not protected. Because remember, as a man, you can still go and open a case as well. The only thing the legislation has done is to prioritize those groups that are considered to be vulnerable. But also what is important as well, which the government does, and most people don't utilize or take advantage of it, is that every time there's a new legislation, There are platforms that are created for you to make inputs. But most South Africans, they don't come to the front and contribute to those legislations until they are signed. But also lastly, to indicate that the reason why we are establishing this structure is exactly to make sure that we can identify those issues that you are concerned about, so that we can find a solution before problems escalate and become uncontrollable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're now going to give this opportunity to our Deputy Principal, Registrar, Mr. Mutuwazi, to come and respond. What are the remarks for Mr. Mutuwazi? Exchange remarks.
No, I can hear that this attack. I think on the process, Mr. Mhlongo, where marks have been changed by a lecturer, what needs to happen is, as a student, you need to report this to the same lecturer to check whether it is not just an error. And if you do not agree based on the evidence that you have a class rep that needs to be resolved in that class, involve the class rep to resolve. Failure with the class rep, this matter should be reported to the senior lecturer. Failure to get the solution with your senior lecturer, you go to their faculty head, the HOD, to resolve. If you cannot also resolve this matter, you take this matter to the SRC, and the SRC will engage the campus management in order to resolve such a problem. And if it is not resolved, you can take the matter now, the SRC, to the office of the principal in the corporate. And if you still don't find joy there, then the matter can be taken to the college council for intervention. If still you don't find joy there, you can take the matter to the Department of Higher Education and Training. That's our regional office. If you still don't find joy there, you can take the matter now to the DHET in the national office. Without joy, it goes now to the office of the minister. If the minister still cannot help you take the matter to the president, then you will get the solution there. I've just outlined all the processes. But if it can be detected during the process that this was done intentionally so by the lecturer, this means the misconduct now has been captured in terms of the violation of the labor practice. Therefore, such a lecturer will be summoned for disciplinary hearing. And when the lecturer is summoned for disciplinary hearing, this may lead to expulsion of such a lecturer. And we have done that. There are some of the lecturers who have done that process, and currently they are being expelled. So you need to report so that we follow that. In terms of the sexual harassment, you go straight to the police station, you open a case. And then secondly, you report that to the student support services and the social work, so that we can also deal with the labor practice of that particular perpetrator. And therefore, the police will deal with the perpetrator in court. The college will deal with the perpetrator through the labor practice. And we may dismiss him at our side and may also get arrested into the other side. So we advise you to report and make sure that you present your case during the hearings, because the person will be summoned for this hearing. So make sure you will have all your evidences as such. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mutuwazi. Students, I believe you got the protocol of what needs to happen. If you feel that your marks have been tampered with, you know the protocol. Just follow the protocol, you will be safe. Sergeant Mongwe, it looks like we are managing our time very well. According to our program, it's saying 2 o'clock. We'll be wrapping up the session. However, I'm not closing off the last few hands. If there are last few burning issues that you'd like to quickly raise, let me just quickly see the ushers. Maybe let's take 2 to a maximum of 3. If there are burning questions that needs to be shared with the rest of the panel members, By show of hands. It's an auction now. Going once, going twice, sold. Thank you very much. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause for this participation. This was wonderful. This was very much wonderful. Without any waste of time, I'm going to request on behalf of Mopani TVET College, our acting campus manager from Safalduncan, Mr. Peters, to come and wrap up the day for us. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Program Director. As the Program Director mentioned, I'm here to wrap up. I was supposed to start at 20 to 2. I see it's 2 o'clock now. So I'm going to try to speed things up as quickly as possible so that we finish off. Major Generals, Brigadiers, and all other officers from SAPS, Dr. Beloy, Deputy Principals, and all other staff from Mopani TVET College, other external stakeholders that may be here, as well as, last but not least, the students or the class reps and the SRC that are representing the students here. I greet you all today. Mrs. van Niekerk, the campus manager of Palabora campus, opened and welcomed everybody. And she said a very, very important thing, that our slogan that we all know, or our motto that we all know, is excellence is always our choice. Always. Now, if students cannot feel comfortable, or staff cannot feel comfortable because there are crime elements that could be affecting teaching and learning, then that excellence is not always there. And I think that is why this day is very, very important, to ensure that that crime factor does not exist, so that excellence can always be our choice and it can't be affected by crime or elements of crime. The purpose of the day was opened by Major General Lukele. And Major General Lukele, he basically said, in a nutshell, that crime does affect campuses. And he showed us a lot of statistics on the screen. And the statistics that impressed me a lot was that in Limpopo itself, crime statistics are very, very low. On top of it, at tertiary institutions, there weren't any crime statistics. However, that doesn't mean that it may not be happening. He also touched on gender-based violence. And sadly, as I go along, we'll see that gender-based violence was touched on by just about all the speakers. So it does seem to be a problem, or that doesn't seem to be a problem. It is a big problem, which I'll touch on just now. The ideal situation that was pointed out by Major General Lukele is that there should be peace and harmony on the campuses. And the students are vulnerable. And the whole idea with this type of thing is to get the campuses or the educational institutions together with SAPS and together with other stakeholders or other role players to work together as a team to get rid of this. Major General Butonsi then came and he spoke about the campus safety framework. And Major General pointed out that no college is exempt from crime. And the important thing over here is that he pointed out this crime happens off campus as well as on campus. Not all campuses, but it's possible that it can happen on campus as well as off campus. Now, this is very, very true because many of us might feel safe at campus, but when we're on our way home to our residence or wherever we stay, maybe we stay at home, in that journey home, we might be vulnerable. So, the idea over here is that everybody, together with SAPS, needs to act proactively to keep everyone safe. As he pointed out on his statistics, it seems safe in Limpopo, especially at tertiary institutions, but the idea is to keep it like that. It's not to say, because it's safe, we don't have to worry about it, because we have to keep that status quo, which is very, very important. Then, he touched on that there are outside people that infiltrate into campuses with exterior motives. And it's normally these people, once they've infiltrated onto the campuses or into the campuses, that they cause and they organize student protests and things like this. And once again, it comes to the opening thing that Mrs. van Niekerk mentioned. Excellence is always our choice. And unfortunately, if we are having protest action and we are having unrest, teaching and learning is affected. And then, at that moment, excellence isn't always our choice. So, it's important that us as students, together with staff, together with SAPS, that we create a friendly learning environment. And we do this by creating a campus sub-forum that works together with the Community Policing Forum, the CPF. Then we got beg your pardon. We got Brigadier Verstaden, and Brigadier Verstaden spoke to us about the eyes and ears, and he called it E2. E for ears, E for eyes, E2. And this basically touched on that SAPS alone cannot be doing everything. They need the community to be reporting things to SAPS so that they can come in and rescue the situation and solve it. He mentioned many platforms, business against crime. And business against crime, if you think of it, shopping centers all over, and even our campuses and our corporate office. This has been applied at the moment because we got a private security company at all our campuses and our corporate office. And that is part of business against crime, is the private security industry. And we've also got the Provincial Operational Crime Center. Now, as he mentioned, what the Provincial Operational Crime Center is, it's almost like where a whole lot of information can be reported to this central crime that acts provincially almost immediately. And he mentioned something about cameras are actually linked to this. And I hope I'm not out of line here, but just recently we've had cameras installed at our campuses. And I think especially for the access entrance, these cameras are focused straight onto vehicles' registration numbers. And if possible, we might be able to get these linked to this. So if there are any unwanted vehicles or unwanted characters coming onto our campuses or our corporate office, it can be picked up immediately. However, this will have to be discussed with our senior management. Then we got Mrs. Babunda, and Mrs. Babunda spoke about the safety on campus. And she spoke about everything that we do on our campuses, and the one thing is, which I concur with, is the induction of, when we do induction at the beginning of the year, we include SAPS. We include the station commanders, and together with some of the officers at the station, and they come and they talk to our students. It's very, very important that incidents are reported. It's not, we should not keep quiet about it. And once again, and this came up quite a few times, is that ultimately, if we want to combat crime at campuses, everybody, every single body, students, lecturers, support staff, ground staff, we're all responsible to report these matters. As mentioned earlier, if these matters aren't reported, SAPS won't be able to solve them. Then Colonel Mukufi came to speak to us regarding the legislative framework on gender-based violence. And he outlined many, many different acts that govern and control crime, particularly gender-based violence. And there's two things that Colonel mentioned that struck me. And we should all take responsibility. We should not look away, especially when it's gender-based violence. If we know of something happening, we should not look away and say, I didn't see it, I don't want to get involved. Because if this should happen, you're actually just as guilty as the one causing that crime, if it's not reported. The other thing that was mentioned is is the integrated crime violence prevention strategy. And it's important that we all stick together and use this. Then it was also mentioned that gender-based violence is now actually, and this is one thing that struck me, I never ever realized it was this bad, because you see it on TV and you say, yes, it's another one of those. It's another one of those cases. However, I think it's because if you look at the crime stats that were presented right in the beginning, I don't really want to say this, but I think we've sort of like become immune to, oh, it's another crime statistic, oh, it's another crime statistic. But one thing that struck me is that gender-based violence has now been declared a disaster. So it's not even serious or anything like that. It's very, 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 very bad now. It's been declared a disaster. And this is why we need to stand together in order to combat this. Then lastly, I'm not finished. Then lastly, we got, this is, I hope I get the pronunciation correct, Mrs. Buchanan. And she spoke specifically about gender-based violence. And once again, this came up that the figures are very, very high. And the one thing that I've never ever realized is she mentioned that 62% of our students do not feel safe. Now, I'm not sure if this is referring specifically to our campuses, or if it's just generally students. But if it is 62%, then something definitely has to happen so that our students and staff, not only students and staff, do feel safe on campus. Because if we're not feeling safe, we come back to what Mrs. van Niekerk mentioned right at the beginning. Excellence is always our choice, but if we're not feeling safe, we're not achieving that. And she also spoke that regarding our mental health, if our mental health is not fine, okay, it affects many, many other things. So everyone, to wrap up the day, I think we can say that SAPS is actually reaching out to us to say, in order for us to help you, we need your help. And we need other stakeholders' help within the community. And I think it's a responsibility of all of us to work together in order to make our campuses a safer place for all. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give Mr. Peters a real one, a real, yeah. The one that happened earlier, it was by accident. We thought it was done because of the pause. So this is the real one. Thank you, Mr. Peters, for wrapping up the day. Ladies and gentlemen, just a minute. I'm going to afford Mr. Mutubatsi a minute to give us a way forward. Then I'll be coming to also say my last parting shot, as well as my colleague, Sergeant Mongwe. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tate Sathekge. You may not leave and be with me. Colleagues, it has been a long day, and we just want to start by appreciating, the SAPS, for making this discussion possible. And it was long overdue, and we really welcome the partnership, and we will try our level best to make Mopani TVET College a safe environment for everyone. The college normally invites the police, as we mentioned, at the beginning of each and every year. The aim is being proactive, because we don't want to be reactive and mitigate issues that happened. And we hope that the relationship will keep on going. And we also need the capacity as the college. We would like to be capacitated in terms of the crimes and also the violence. We need to build this strong relationship with the police and deal with all the challenges before they become violent. We thought it will be important to have at least a liaison officer in each and every police station. We have got 3 police stations. From these 3 police stations, if we can have a liaison officer who will deal with matters of the college, so that when the students report, they know that we report this issue, you can make a follow-up and deal with that. I believe if that person can be given to the college, we'll be able to mitigate some of the crime. And even us, as the college, will be able to appoint, in consultation with the SRC and the management, get a liaison officer from the college who will be dealing with crimes within the college, so that everything that is being reported can be traced and can be dealt with accordingly. The capacity that we hope it will be important is the protection of crime scenes. If you've got crime scenes, we don't know how to deal with them on site. If we can be capacitated, we'll appreciate that. Our security personnel that have been appointed at the college, they also need to be capacitated in terms of dealing with students. How also to link the crimes with the police. I think that can also help. We have got the landlords. Our students are residing in different, student accommodations. So the students that are here, they are all leaders. We have got a group of students who are the SRCs. We have got the second set of students who are the class reps. We have got the third group of students who is a representative from each and every student accommodations, because the college does not have residents. All of them are residing in NSFAS accredited accommodation. So we thought if one of those can be capacitated with information, it might help to deal with crimes that are happening in different student accommodations. We have got 98, NSFAS accredited accommodations, so which is a lot. So we hope also that the landlords should be called and be capacitated to assist us, so that we don't have issues from the different student accommodations. We want to be part of the solutions in terms of dealing with mitigations of crime. There is an app that I've seen outside students. I think it's important to download that particular app so that it can come and assist us in terms of reporting, to make things easier for us. So let me stop there, Chairperson, the program director. I believe from here we can make a move and start to engage on the issues that I have raised, so that we can trace the progress. But surely we are ready and prepared to sign tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mutubati. Ladies and gentlemen, we have unfortunately arrived at the end of our program. Thank you very much for being such a good audience. This is the direction that we'll be following from here on. Our dignitaries, our leadership, people who were part of the morning briefing in the admin block conference room, including myself,